So I'll count it off.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Just let's go.
1, 2, 3, go!
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the rehearsal room. Nick here.
Aaron's here.
Aaron, what shirt are you wearing?
I happen to be wearing a Steve Von Till shirt.
Can you name 3 Steve Von Till songs?
I cannot. But I can name 3 members of Neurosis. Does that count? No,
yeah, you know what? Yeah,
you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, As the Crow Flies is one of the names of the albums.
Yeah.
I cannot name them off the top of my head.
I can't either. I can't name any Steve Von Till songs. I can
am.
recognize his voice very much.
I know he does a Neil Young cover.
That's right. He also does a Townes Van Sant cover.
Yes, he does. Other than that, I guess I'm a poser.
Episode over. Yeah, we're gonna talk about something that happens a lot. I think not just in the subcultures that we tend to align ourselves with.
Mm-hmm.
I think this happens a lot more out there now.
Oh yeah, I think with every subculture, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that is, even that can be kind of approached in a way that's like, where we can try to understand why it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're talking about gatekeeping here.
Yeah.
I know most of us might know gatekeeping by the example we just kind of acted out.
Right. And scene.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
I just want to thank you for creating a playground for us to work in, Nick. I felt very, very safe.
Well, I'm glad to do that.
Oh, well,
I think gatekeeping happens a lot more than we think. I think even some of us do it when we're unaware of us doing it.
I find myself actually this week almost doing it to myself. So
that is a new one.
Yeah, no, and we'll get to it. But yeah. I think too, online has certainly made it more prolific in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
easier to do
for sure.
You hit a lot more people with it than necessarily standing outside of a concert doing it to people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's also weird when it's done outside of concerts.
Very much so, yeah. No, I don't know who that guy is. The shittiest doorman ever. But, I think when you think about online, it just makes it easier because, as the meme says, online you can be anybody. So it doesn't really, there's no consequences necessarily. So it's much easier to, in their mind, gatekeep, when in reality, I think one of the things that I think we both kind of agree on is it's something that can happen, but it doesn't actually achieve its goal in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's this weird kind of game you're playing that nobody else seems to be playing in a weird way. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but
I'm not going to say originally this is what it was,
sure.
But I think some people, when they find themselves doing it, they think they're raising that flag of like, hey, I'm one of you.
Yes.
And when they do it, I also, maybe in my more positive outlook of this is I'm just doing it to see if we can be friends or not.
I do think,
right?
Yes. One of the things, because this is where I am more interested in these things than anything else. It's easy to just go, oh, you're fucking losers for being a gatekeeper and it's stupid and it wastes time.
Yeah.
But I'm always interested in the whys. Why do people do these things?
Sure.
What was the reason behind it? I was lucky enough to find an article and also a woman, she happened to be a clinical psychologist, breaking down some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for that. Sometimes the intention is a positive one.
Sure.
It's how they go about it. You know what I mean? And you're right. Sometimes it's also this idea of we belong to this niche group. Yeah. And it's our tribe. We put the flag out there to say, are you part of my tribe?
Yeah.
That's not in and of itself a bad thing, but again, how it's presented.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of people who would tell you, for sake of argument, I mean, certainly we've called out bands here that we don't particularly like, but, the kid comes in to the show with a 5-Finger Death Punch show with his shirt and we roll our eyes.
Yeah.
But online, as he proclaims them to be one of the great bands of all time, we disagree. But instead of saying, well, I disagree and here's a few suggestions that maybe would change your mind, it's you're a fucking idiot and that band totally sucks and you're a moron. Well, you think you're saying the same thing, but you're actually, I would argue And again, these are things I mainly experienced online. I would argue you make those people cling to that even more than actually turn away from it. If you think you're helping, I think I mean, do the opposite, right? If someone came to you and told you your favorite band, like, I mean, listen, we both like some bands that we're both fans of Sun.
Right.
God knows we've heard a million times.
Oh,
from people,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? Has that made you go, man, I got to reevaluate my love of Sun?
Not at all.
Right.
I mean,
in some ways it makes you cling to it more, right?
it does, because also the way that specific example there,
Sure.
you know, it's not a constructive
No,
criticism
no,
of what they like, right? And
Right,
as we
Let me turn on my refrigerator. There, I made a Sun album.
exactly, yeah. I mean, we've had past guests who have
Yes.
had strong words about
Yes.
Sun, right?
And again, that's listen, it's not for everybody. I totally get it. I'm not mad that you don't like them.
Right.
You know, but you shitting on them isn't going to change my mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I also think in a lot of ways when we do something like this, we not just to test the waters to see if the other people are friendly.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep the thing we're into in our minds pure.
Oh, great. No. This is
Right.
an excellent point. You're absolutely correct. We feel like it's this little niche thing that fits in our back pocket.
Yeah.
And we only want to make sure, you know, when we were growing up, the word was poser.
Yes.
We had to keep the posers out.
Yep.
You know, that thrash documentary, was it Death in the Front Row or whatever? I
Oh,
think it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Has that
Murder
whole-
in the front row.
That's it. It has that whole thing about, I believe that's the one where, you know, guys would show up to the Exodus shows in their Motley Crue shirts and we tear it off of them.
Yeah.
How dare they wear that? You know, it's like, Jesus Christ. By the way, when you're 14, 15, I'll give you all the way to like 18 or 19, maybe even, especially with dudes, let's be honest, we're really 16 until we're like 25.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I get it. But when you start getting into your 30s, like, it becomes a little sad, really.
It's a little goofy.
It
like,
is,
If
but-
a full ass grown adult is talking like that,
Yes.
it's come on, man. What are you doing?
It really becomes pathetic. But it is something to be said for. We do kind of get this. Something I read in that article, which I thought, oh, man, what an excellent point. I never looked at it like that. There are those who we revere, no matter who they are, right? The Aussies, the Lemmys, you know
Sure.
what I mean? So when they make a judgment, sometimes we go along with it. Like, the irony is one of the famous ones he brought up, and I thought, oh, God, I totally remember that.
Yeah.
I think we all remember the Nothing Else Matters video, and there's a part in it where Lars Ulrich is throwing darts at the Kip Winger poster from,
oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, the irony, of course, of all this is, like, he's like, yeah, this poser Kip Winger, while I'm listening to And Nothing Else Matters. You know what I mean? You're just kind of like, yeah. I mean, in the moment, you're like, that's right. Yeah, fuck Winger, dude. Because we're,
Right.
you know what I mean? The loser of Beavis and Butthead wore the Winger shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the reality, it's like, there is this moment where, like, it does draw a line when you're at the right age that says, okay, they're not with us.
Yeah.
Metallica is, and that's the line. If you don't want, if you're not with us, you're against us, kind
Sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I think we've all done that to some degree, certainly when we were younger. But the idea that you will, the purity, as you were speaking, which is such a great point, because I've read people say this in forums. I'm trying to keep it pure. Like, what? How do you think you're going to accomplish that by berating somebody?
And I actually have a reason to express it
Please.
as that, to keep it pure.
Yeah.
Because the way I've come across this, or the way I'm processing this, is in music or in movies or whatever,
Sure.
whatever, like the subculture, the entertainment that we're gonna, right? We don't draw the lines. We're not the ones working on the music.
Thank you.
We're not the ones working on the movies. We're just entertained by it in a very distinct way,
Mm-hmm.
which for us specifically, we're creating what we're ultimately gatekeeping for ourselves.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to go look around and see if other people either agree with us, because if they don't, if there's any variance on how they like the thing,
Right.
you're not pure,
Right.
right? Like you're not 100%. You're not a true. You're a poser,
Yeah.
right?
And
you're a
that's,
false.
Well, and it's such a weird. It's also that part where we would like to believe, and I think
Yeah.
for the most part, it is true that our subculture, especially, when it comes to like punk or metal and stuff like that,
Yeah.
is all inclusive.
Sure.
Like we collect the Misfits toys, right?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
like we are the island of Misfit toys.
Yeah.
And that's what we are, man. You know, you don't fit in that pop world. That's cool, man, because we accept you
Yeah.
as long as you fit certain criteria.
Exactly.
Like, I want you to be part of it, but you have to only be part of it if you're this, or this.
Right.
And then there's this weird thing where it's like, I've heard it said about rock and roll. Isan, I think I'm saying that right, from Emperor.
Yeah. Ishan.
Ishan, you know, he has said it about black metal. It's like, I got into this because, as far as I was concerned, there are no rules.
Right.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And you definitely, like, everybody who reads that from him goes, oh, dude, he's a fucking right. Yes. Why? Oh, because he's the guy from Emperor.
Right. Right.
Well, do we all forget the part where when Emperor first came out, people were like, what the fuck's with the keyboards?
Yep. Yep.
Them and Demi Beer is like, what the fuck's with the keyboards? That's not black metal.
Also, when Emperor came out, they weren't as accepted as black metal like the other second wave bands were.
Again, I mean,
right?
this is this weird thing, but because people changed with them, and so did black metal. We now revere them. We understand they are one of the stalwarts. They are one of the ones that helped create a subgenre of black metal. So it is this, like, you know, you're keeping a gate that keeps moving a little bit too. The very thing a guy is gatekeeping now will not be something people gatekeep in 10 years.
That's another thing. In subcultures where there are no defined barriers, we're gatekeeping something that's amorphous.
It really is.
Right? Because we don't know ultimately. Because imagine the fan gatekeeping something.
Right.
And then the actual people involved in the thing come by. They're probably not going to pass the gatekeeping test either. Right?
No.
Like when you listen to those, I'm sure you've seen this, where Slayer is being interviewed, and they ask Tom Araya, what are your influences?
Right.
And he's listing a bunch of old classic bands, right?
And R&B.
And stuff like that,
Like,
right?
What?
And like, oh yeah, you didn't get into metal until you were in Slayer?
Right.
Like, what kind of poser shit is this,
Oh,
right?
by the way, metal at that time was 6 bands.
6 bands, exactly, right?
So it's like, what could I have gotten into?
Yeah.
You know?
And then for him to be like, yeah, and I don't like some of those bands anymore. It's like, oh, well, what the fuck, man? How are we hailing this dude as one of the ultimate metal dudes if he doesn't like the thing? So, we're defending a thing that has no shape, no form.
Yeah.
We individually, subjectively are trying to define what we keep as ours and as pure, but it's kind of coming back and blowing up on our faces, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because the other part is, I think when you step back and you really look at it, metal, and I mean this in all, not just metal, but all underground cultures, in and of themselves, gatekeep themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
If you hear Napalm Death, you only get 2 reactions, right? Like, the average person hears Napalm Death and just goes, oh, God, no.
Right.
Right? Okay, well, that's the gatekeeping. We're done here.
Yeah.
When the black metal guys were making albums that sounded like they were recorded in caves and purposely putting their guitar through a fucking, a microphone that, it goes into your mouth just so it sounds like shit. Well, that was already, we're done here.
Yeah.
Most people would have picked up, a Death Crush and just, oh, good God, no, not for me.
Right.
Okay, it's done it to himself. The genre unto itself, especially when it comes to, more heavier styles, like, as our one of our episodes that we did prior, when it comes to popularity, it should not be a shocker that Def Leppard's Hysteria sells a hell of a lot more than Def Leppard's High and Dry.
Right.
Metallica's Black Album sells a hell of a lot more than Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Because they are more accessible. But even then, there are still people, I've brought it up a 1,000 times on here, but that great meme of what your mom thought the Beatles sounded like, and it's a video of them, but it's a song, because that's literally, that is what parents heard when they heard Elvis or they heard the Beatles. Was this, what is this noise?
Yeah.
So it's already going to keep out. And the more extreme you get into certain genres, and by the way, if someone is willing to want to explore those things, you don't need to gatekeep them. They're obviously open to it.
They're open to it. They make it available. All the information that went into the thing is made available. So like it's kind of weird when I mean, unless the band is purposefully trying to be secretive, or like
Sure,
the
sure.
movie makers are trying to be a little bit more secretive about their process. But maybe 99% of what's out there, the people making whatever the thing is, want you to know about it.
Yes.
Whether they're making it for themselves or not,
Yes.
they want you to enjoy it as much as they had, as much as they enjoyed making the product.
Otherwise,
right?
why are you releasing it?
Exactly. Otherwise, yeah. And like to your point, the Metallica Black album, people do gatekeep that album, but forgetting that, again, like as you mentioned, they purposely made it better sounding to them, so that more people could come by and enjoy their music.
Absolutely.
You don't get Metallica, the company, now
Right.
without them making that album as accessible as it was.
Absolutely.
Right.
It was a choice. That's fine. But also they have been the ones when, they got gatekeeped again when Master of Puppets hits Stranger Things.
Right. Yes, exactly.
All these and again, I will always have that eternal love for them. When they came out and said, "Fuck you. Metallica's for everybody."
Yeah.
I don't care if that's the first time you heard us. Then great. I
Yeah,
hope you love
yeah.
us. And if it's the only song you like, that's fine too. You don't get to tell people who can listen to us and who can't.
Right.
And it is the truth of it. Like, it is this, and I do think it's somewhat of like one of the things you touched on, and I think we'll get deeper into, is like the knowledge of it. Like, again, name 3 songs. Can
Right.
you name this? Do you know who the original singer was?
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
the years that they did the demo? You know what I mean? Like, there is, from time to time, what we use that for is the kind of test. You're right. For the most part, I think, am I finding a new friend here?
Yeah.
And I do think there is something to be said for that. But it's also this thing of like, is this the only reason you acquired this knowledge? Like, just so you
Honestly,
could quiz
I think
people
yes.
and be an asshole?
I honestly think.
I think
there's
that's
50.
sad
I think
if
there's
so.
50-50.
I gotcha.
I think 50% are, hey, are you as much a nerd as I am?
Well,
Are you as much a dork about this
and
as I am?
that's how I feel about, like, as I've said before, my journey through metal for the most part was always myself.
Sure.
I had friends here and there, but nobody loved it in the way I loved it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So acquiring this knowledge certainly wasn't getting me laid, certainly wasn't getting me paid, and it didn't get me into college. So it's like, it's just to say, I just was so fanatical about it and loved it so much. I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. Do I like throwing little facts around and a did you know? Of course I do.
Sure. I
But
think we all
never-
do that.
But I
yeah.
never see it as a way to go like, that's why I am superior to you, because I know who the original bass player, I know who Ron McGovney is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just to say, I wanted to know that because I wanted to communicate with my fellow Metallica fans, my fellow metal fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially back in the day when finding that information was a little more difficult. You had to go buy a book, read a magazine, so on and so forth. And I just think, like, that knowledge for me, I think that's where I'm always thrown back on, because I have seen that, where it feels like people are only acquiring the knowledge to hold it over other people's heads. And it's like, why not? So do you actually like it, or is it only to hold over others?
Here's something I've also noticed.
Please.
In subcultures, they also tend to adopt, if not fully assimilate, the kind of like the binary thinking of mainstream. Whatever mainstream is, to them, or just in life,
Yeah, I
right?
gotcha.
Like what this is good and this is bad.
Yeah,
You take it into the subculture that you now associated with,
100.
right? And that's when it becomes a bit more of a nuisance, where like, oh, this fucking person's talking shit on
Right.
these kids because the person's older. You haven't gone through everything I've gone.
Sure,
I
sure.
put in the hours. I
Oh.
put in the time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went
yeah.
to the shows.
Yeah.
What do you know buying that shirt?
I was there. How can
Exactly.
you talk about that? It's like, well, I don't have. I wasn't in World War II. I could still learn about it. and
Exactly, right?
Become a bit of an expert on it.
So I think that also happens a lot, unfortunately, where older crowds, older folks kind of tend to look at the younger folks coming in.
100. Yes.
And
There's a lot of I want my props for what I went through.
For what I went through,
You
yes.
see the silly. I may be old, but at least I got to see all the cool bands.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like,
and it's like,
well, I see cool bands too.
yeah, I mean, I'd argue there are a lot cooler bands now
Probably,
than
yeah.
ever, because let's face it, a lot of those older bands just won't go away.
Yeah.
So they're still out there playing the fucking county fair,
Right.
and all that. And yeah,
No, and more, if nothing else, there's more variety of those.
Yeah,
great
that's
bands.
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, and I get it. The other part, and this is like one of the things in psychology that he said, which is like it's so true.
yeah.
We are trying to make logical statements and arguments about emotions.
Yes.
That is difficult to do.
Yep.
Music and art. And when I say art, I'll include music, movies, all these things. And whether you're into anime, whether you're into, going to, Comic-Con, whatever, all that stuff. These things don't just hit us on I like to read the stories and I like color. Like, no, it hits us on an emotional level. We attach ourselves to a Batman. We attach ourselves to a band because that music moves us. And I think once you get into smaller niche genres of music or comic or movies, they become more personal. So it's not just something I watch or I listen to.
Right.
It now becomes a part of me, a connection that I have to this thing that may be real and may not be real in certain ways.
Right.
So when we are told it sucks, or when somebody says it sucks to us, like, oh, I'm sorry, of course I'm going to get emotional about it.
Of course. Yeah.
It'd be crazy not to. And I don't even know if I want to meet the person who wouldn't get that emotion. You know what I mean? Like I would hate to think that somebody who's like, man, I live and breathe Iron Maiden. And I go, really? Because I think they suck ass. And they just go, oh, okay. Like, I would expect you to be like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, because you love this band, of course.
Yeah.
But it is something to keep in mind, is like just the part where there are emotions involved in all of this.
Yeah, there's also the adoption of the thing as your identity, which is where the emotions also come in.
And
right?
especially when you get into these certain things. Let's be honest, a lot of us probably got into these certain things around our high school years.
Sure.
Those are formative years in which you are trying to find your identity in certain ways and find your tribe at the same time. You're trying to be the individual, but also find where are my like-minded people.
Yep.
That famous Life of Brian. You are all individuals. Yes, we are all individuals. You know what I mean? But it is that thing. Like, yes, when I discovered metal, it became who I was in a lot of ways. And at that age, I didn't care that it was my personality. As I got older, I didn't need it to be my personality, but it is a part of who I am nonetheless. Sure. I can't take that away from me because it shaped me. But it also was, can I find others like me? I can remember, I got, without going into a big long story, either way, I had to go to another high school for a semester because I got kicked out of my the one I eventually graduated from after 7 years. Most people call you a doctor, but anyway, no. But and I remember thinking like, well, cool, maybe I'll find some metalheads here. Well, my metal shirt wasn't metal enough for the metalheads, and they made fun of me. Oh, loser, blah, blah, blah. And God knows what they were listening to.
Yeah.
Now, and it was like, oh, what the fuck, bro? Now, I have always been the opposite of that, which is I would love to share all the metals with as many people who would be willing to listen. I've never felt like, oh, no, this isn't for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you're willing, I'll make you fucking mixtapes and CDs. And by the way, they are fire at all times.
I will 100% attest to this. He has made me many a mixtape.
Well, those are the ones because I want to tell you how much I love you. But
it is known and received, my friend, and reciprocated.
It beats standing outside your house with a boombox. So it's just to say, I've always had a weird relationship with it because to me, I've always wanted to share the beauty that is heavy metal. That I think it gets a bad rap. That I think people have the wrong perception about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I mean, so to see people want to keep people out of it simply because they like a band that they don't like always seemed weird to me. You know?
Yeah. I do this a lot with movies and books, where I know I find myself gatekeeping, like, and it's done in a way where it's not so much like if you don't know this, you're not a true, but it's more of like to appreciate this. This is how you need to appreciate.
Yeah, dude.
Which is a different way of gatekeeping, I know.
But I understand it. Like, I recently had conversations with people about the world that is, Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
You know, and now I don't have to tell you because obviously we don't need to gatekeep each other. We already know the world of, you know, but you know what I mean? But like, you know, I mean, you can get really deep into his shit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling these people that I work with, and they're like, what? And I'm like, now, at no time am I like, what are you, a loser? You don't know these things? I'm excited. I'm like, oh, yeah. This even goes into movies that he wrote that he didn't even direct.
Right.
What? I did not know any of this. You know what I mean? Where there are others like, I don't know about Red Apple cigarettes. What a loser.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, why? Like, why wouldn't you want to share this information and make the circle bigger?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But I also understand the part where, because it's precious to you, you love it. And you don't necessarily want to let the wrong one in, if you will.
Yeah, well,
You know?
like in one of my examples,
Please.
I, as folks out there might know at this point, and if you don't, you should. I am a big fan of Conan stories.
Whoa. How come this has never come up before?
I've been meaning to talk about this more.
This secret life you're living, Nick. I mean, my goodness, man.
So I am a fan of Conan, but
Absolutely.
more specifically, I am a fan of Robert E. Howard's writing.
Right.
Now, he wrote many a character, blah, 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 and all addendum, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yada, yada, and a yada.
so when, you know, people, there's many ways that people can enjoy the Conan stuff
Sure.
now. There
Sure.
are the original stories. There are pastiche, which are just continuation stories authored by other people. There
And
are
my favorite type of cheese.
the pastiche. There are comic books and there are movies, right?
Absolutely.
So and video games.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me add that.
Oh, yeah.
So you can break into this type of fandom anywhere in those. But for me, the way I've gate-kept many a person
I hear you.
is to truly appreciate Conan, you have to go back and read the original stories.
I feel you. Okay.
I just feel if you don't, you're really losing out on what the character ultimately is, where he comes from, and then understanding where the author lived and where he lived at what time. You get a better understanding of the Conan universe, as it were, right?
Yeah.
At no point do I ever feel like you're not a true if you only like the video games or the 1982 movie.
I hear you. I love what you said the word. I think it is awesome. What you believe is that you can better appreciate a thing that you say you like. And I am with you there 100%.
Right. Yeah.
You know, fanaticism, fan is short for fanatic.
Right.
I do think there are levels to fandom.
Of course.
You know, but I too have seen where someone presents a flag and I go, oh, well, did you know this, and this? And they're looking at me like worms are crawling out of my eyes. And I go, well, I thought you said you were this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be bothersome. And you're right. I hope to always approach it with what you said. I love that. Is to say, I don't think you have to know Quentin Tarantino's world.
Right.
But I think you'd better appreciate his movies. You'd find these niche
Yeah.
little things if you knew those things.
Because if you're aware of these other little details, it just paints a bigger picture
Dude.
to what you're already enjoying.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It just rounds it out better. Plus, you know, again, fucking Howard stories from 1920, 1930.
Yes.
The fact that he's creating these universes
There you go.
back then.
Yes.
And if you're only enjoying for example, the comic book version or the movies,
Yeah.
that's what is it? An abridged version
No doubt.
of the original.
No doubt.
Right?
Yes.
It's edited, it's cut down, it's made palatable.
Yes.
I can't say it's made accessible because the original stories are still accessible.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, they're out there for everyone to enjoy, but I just think going back that far, knowing the source and then coming back to where you found it, it's going to paint a way bigger, enjoyable, you know, idea of what you're trying to enjoy.
I couldn't agree with you more. I if that's how people approached it all the time, I'd have less of a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's always the case. And again, there's also, let's be honest, because I'm the same, there's a little beat in your chest. There's a little
of course.
like, hey, I know a thing you don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I want to laud it over your head, but because maybe it would be impressive. And people like us, we love come to each other and go, hey, did you know so?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, I know it. Oh, my God. Did you know this little piece of trivia? Holy crap. You know, we're never doing it to be like, that makes me superior to you today, Nick.
I will say in our
I win
early,
Wednesday, you know?
our early years,
maybe.
Aaron and I did do a lot of, hey, did you know? I mean, we still do it.
Absolutely.
But it was a lot of information sharing, which which
Because
was like
it was just-
connecting to
There it
a database, and hey,
Yeah.
let me download all your
Yeah,
shit. You
absolutely.
can download all
It
mine.
only made us closer as friends.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
for
and
sure.
that was always the goal. It wasn't an online thing to chase Nick away.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know,
Ain't chasing me away.
I can't quit you.
I can't find you.
I'm over here. You know, I mean, and like I said, it is. I get it. I get all these things. You know, one of the things I thought was interesting that this clinical psychologist lady said was, so I guess there's a thing, and I want to make sure I get it right. It's called the 5-factor model, in which you can kind of test people's personalities. So the 5 things they look at is open to experiences,
Yeah.
agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversionism.
Okay.
I guess that means you never have sex? I don't know really. I'm not great with words. And neuroticism,
Okay.
which I think is what happens when you buy too many things from Neurot Records.
I
But
think that's what it is.
I think that,
yeah.
okay. Again, I'm not the smartest man in the world. No, but the thing she said over and over again, the most people that you find gatekeep follow 2 things out of those 5. And then the third one added makes them even more, which is open. If people who score high on open to experiences, but low on agreeableness, you will find them to be some of your biggest gatekeepers. Because they believe their opinion is completely right, but they are also open to all sorts of different music
Yes.
and art and on and on and on. But they do not, they think because of that, that gives them a superiority,
Yep.
or therefore that's why their opinion matters more than yours.
Yep.
So when they tell you that band is bad, well, I listen how many bands I've listened to. See how many
yes.
things I have watched.
Yep.
That's why it tells me that your shit is bad. And then if you add the neuroticism, which, as she explains, is the idea that you feel emotions stronger and more than other people,
Right.
then that raises the level of kind of gatekeeping in
Of your
general.
fandom.
Oh,
or your appreciation as opposed to somebody else's.
Yes. Now
Yep.
it becomes even more emotional for you, so that when someone comes around and wants to tell you that "Dude, Where's My Car" is the height of cinema, you know, and you're over there like,
It's a great film.
I happen to be a fan, but but meanwhile, they want to argue about this French film that was made in the 40s that 3 people saw.
Right.
That's why they think you're stupid to think that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think those are, again, I'm always interested in the why more than the thing. And that's an interesting thing that these mix of these 2 things, and if you add this third, holy shit.
Yeah, of course.
And I would argue, especially with heavy metal, to a degree, and depending on the levels of heavy metal, to be open to those kind of experiences, you are going to find yourself listening to a more variety of music in those subgenres.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
you are going to feel like, well, my scope of what's out there is bigger.
Yeah.
If you're just listening to these bands that you can find on Revolver or your Sirius XM, that's fine. You can love all those.
Sure.
But I am superior to you because I listen beyond those
Beyond
things.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's an interesting way of kind of going like, that makes a lot more sense now. You know what I mean? Because, look, there is a sense of, I've done it. I have done it where
I went through it.
Well, I certainly do it in this way.
Oh.
People will tell me at work or will be like, oh, I like this. And I go, well, let me give you a list of 5 other bands that I know you've never heard of
Oh, yeah.
that sound similar to that. And I think you might like them.
Yeah.
None of these people have ever gotten back to me, but I don't know. I don't know if they will or won't. You know what I mean? Because they've never gotten back to me, so I have no idea if they actually
Right.
listen to it. But I do think there's some preconceived notions of what they think I listen to, as opposed to all that I listen to. Like, again,
Yeah.
I understand how I present myself.
Sure.
I usually all in black, and all my shirts have like a heavy metal band on it.
Yeah.
I get that. But, there are people who come around and go, what are you listening to? And I'm like, oh, well, this is country. Oh, I had no idea. Well, number one, you don't have to know that I do. But, it is this thing where you just go like, maybe that's a form of gatekeeping, to go like, you may like this popular style of this, but I'm going to refer you to some more underground versions of this.
I honestly don't think that one is
Okay.
gatekeeping. I
Okay.
think that's more of like, hey, let me just offer up some more music that I think you might enjoy.
That's
Because-
certainly where it's coming from. I want to expand your mind a little.
I think more, especially with that example,
Yeah.
I think it would be gatekeeping if you said, oh, you like that band? Well, I know 5 of these bands that sound similar to that. You don't.
yeah. I won't write them on a piece
I'm
of
not
paper.
gonna
and I
let you
won't
know what
expose
they
you to
are.
them, right?
You're gonna have to find out.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah,
So
no,
I think
yeah.
you're coming, and especially in that example, you're
Yeah.
coming across a lot more beneficial
Okay.
than anything.
Well, then you'll excuse me while I hurt my shoulder while I pat myself on the back.
Don't break your
Yeah,
wrist.
I think, oh, too
Oh,
late.
there it goes.
But yeah, no, I just it's just to say, and again, I'm not trying to present myself in anything other than who I am. It's just to say, I just like that. I wish one of the things, obviously, we do it here on the podcast. We
Yeah.
do it to each other. We do it with lots of friends. Hey, here's what I'm listening to. Hey, check this out.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this. Da, da, da. I feel it's the same way with others. Music to me should not be a secret. I don't want it to be a secret.
No, yeah.
I want
it's-
everyone to know about every single thing. And I think there is also this part where you go, that quote from Zappa where he's like, most Americans really don't have any fucking clue what kind of music they like
Right.
because they're only exposed to so many things that they might find out tomorrow they actually are to like some African drum music.
Yeah.
But they would never be exposed to it. So how the fuck would they ever know?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel the same way. It's like, well, if I know you like this, well, you may also enjoy. I like being the Amazon, the Spotify, the Last FM to say, hey, but
Check
you
this
do,
out, yeah.
but you do find you have to be amongst your own people in that way.
There
because-
are also people who gatekeep themselves and
Oh.
resist that.
Well, and yeah,
Right.
I as I said, we'll get to it later, but I kind of almost did this to myself. Yes. But yes, I do think there is that. Like they feel like that's too far out of bounds for them.
Yes. And
You
that's
know?
but see that's where the people who take whatever it is that they like as part of their identity.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And they resist it because then it's not them. They didn't come across it on their own, or it breaks the mold of what they've put out there into society. They don't want to be
Yes.
perceived as being that eclectic or what have you, you know.
Well, I would even argue, especially, let's be honest, especially with men,
Yeah.
especially young males,
Yep.
and especially with heavy metal.
Yeah.
There's probably a few who also go like, I don't want people to know, but I kind of like that Cure song, It's a
Right.
little- it's like, oh, but I can't tell people.
Right.
Because
Right.
I'm the man enough. I'm not, like I can remember telling, I remember hearing Bjork for the first time with some friends and being like, dude, I really like that. And they're like, what the hell, bro? Like, what? Like, I don't know. That's a fucking cool song.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to learn more about Bjork. Hey, that Fiona Apple song's go, dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, what do you, I can only listen to males sing about fucking like conquering the world. Like,
Right.
well, I can have emotions, and
Sure.
it's okay. But I also understand, some of that's societal, some of that just,
That's what I'm
being a
saying
young
about the
man.
adoption of the binary
Yes.
mentality
Yes.
of regular society,
Yes.
right? Like that's where you bring that kind of preconceived notion of what's proper for a male
Mhm.
presenting person to do as
Yes.
opposed to somebody who's open to whatever. Right.
Right. And I just feel like, I can remember, again, when I'm younger, and I understand when you're younger, you do a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
When I was younger, yes, I would tell people like, I listen to everything except fucking country music and classical.
And rap. It was always
Rap-
I hate country and rap.
Rap I never had a problem with. I was always into
Oh,
rap.
no, I'm just saying, like,
no,
in the
the
past.
average. I'm with
Yeah,
you. Yeah. Rock music's like candy. You throw away the rappers. Fucking loser. But yes, I which is now I look at it and go like, yeah, the guy who anything but country and that the fucking A. Like I love country.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which in reality turned out to be what it was. Is Aaron wasn't listening to the country that he would like.
Right.
And didn't realize there's a broad spectrum of what you could call country, and if you find the right one, you'd be surprised what you might like.
Yeah.
And I think that I think some of that comes from it too. It's like, if anything, I'd rather gatekeep the people not open to the experience. I'd rather gatekeep, well, certainly, bigots, racists, shitheads, fuckwads that don't deserve to be in the scene in general.
Yeah.
But also just like if you're not open to it, man, then then piss off. Like you know what I mean? Like that would be my gatekeeping more than anything else. And it's just like to have that information and to have that knowledge and to not share it seems like such a waste. If you're just going to use it to abuse it, what's the point, man? That seems so sad.
Now there is a different type of
Please.
gatekeeping that I know I've come across it in the past.
Okay.
Maybe you have.
Yeah.
Where it's more of an actual cultural gatekeeping.
Okay.
This thing that we were just describing this
Mhm.
whole past time
Yeah.
is obviously for our beloved music
Yes,
and
yes, yes,
other
yes.
forms of entertainment. But then there are things where a person from a different culture,
Gotcha. Go
right?
ahead.
Where one popular example, and I know everyone's heard of this at some point or another, where black African folks traditionally used to wear dreadlocks, right? And then there are people from other cultures who started wearing the dreadlocks,
Yes.
not knowing the origins.
Right.
And in many cases, it's come across as insulting.
Yeah.
You know, some people have tried to rationalize or explain away why they could wear the dreadlocks. But what's your opinion on that?
You know, I think intention is everything.
Yeah.
I don't know that you have to know the history of everything that you do necessarily, but it seems like you would want to, especially if it's something that's taken from a culture. You know,
Yes.
hairstyles are like this weird thing where it's like, yes, technically most of them are cultural. Certainly dreadlocks, an afro, so on and so forth.
Sure.
But I can also understand that someone looks at that and goes, those are fucking cool. And if I could grow that, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And not understand the implications that come with it. You know, especially like an afro. Like there's almost politics involved in an afro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the dreadlock as well. Like
Absolutely.
there's politics as
but
well.
I mean, I'm thinking, for me, I was just thinking more, you know, America. You know, I mean,
Right.
the idea of going natural as an African American and doing the afro was in some ways a political thing. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, it is that thing I think about, and I hope I'm not telling a tale out of school. You know, obviously, you are Mexican. Your
Yeah.
wife is white. I know you guys are very much into like Day of the Dead stuff.
Yep.
And I think you told me a story one time, the both of you, where you went to a celebration
Yeah.
of that. And felt like at times she would get some looks
She-
from
yeah.
Latinos who were like, "Oh, please, you know." It's like, and you know, I don't even need to hear it from you or Amy. I know you guys well enough to go like, this lady probably knows 10 times more of it than anyone in this area
Right.
of 10 feet. I can assure you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so what I would say with all of it is, yes, if you are going to adopt certain things that are cultural, it behooves you to learn about them, be respectful about them,
Yeah.
and try to understand them. And on the other side of that coin, I would say to those who see them, don't automatically assume anything about them.
That's the
Give them,
gatekeeping
yes.
aspect there.
And I understand that gatekeeping because, let's be honest, there are too many marginalized communities who have been taken from.
Right.
And they don't get their due. And I understand that part. And those things need to be talked about. But I do think for even those who take from it to some degree,
Yeah.
I don't think are doing it out of hatred. If nothing else, they are emulating a thing they love. They may not understand to do it the right way or to
Right.
do it in the most respectful way. I don't think they're meaning to be disrespectful. You know, most like let's put it this way. If you're into reggae and you're a white person and you're showing up to reggae shows, like you're not just there to be disrespectful.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then as you feel like you're being part of the culture, maybe you wear a hat that has the Rastafari kind of colors on it.
Sure.
You go, oh, fuck, I can grow some dreads. And it's like, I want to be part of the community. I want to be part of this scene in that way. You know, if you're showing up for that, in a lot of ways, you're already putting a flag out that says, I do want to be part of this, and I
Right.
do respect it and love it. That doesn't mean every action you do will make that happen. We've talked about this before, where it's like, look, I may make a piece of art that says, I want to show people that trans people should be recognized and given proper rights. But maybe the way I phrase it is incorrect. And if a trans person comes to me and says, hey, man, the way you phrase that isn't correct, I shouldn't push back. I should listen and go, oh,
There
okay.
you go. That's
thank
what
you.
I was going to touch on. Where if you're using something from a different culture
Right.
and you get asked about it,
Right.
because let's face it, if I know I will take maybe not offense.
Mhm.
Offense isn't the word for it, but I will, maybe be taken aback
Sure.
if someone that I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
came in and was wearing a poncho and
Yeah.
fucking leather huaraches and saying that the food from this one particular state is the best over every other state. I would just be like, well, how do you know?
Right.
And they might think, oh, that's gatekeeping. Here's another one, actually, another example. In like the horror fiction world,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people tend to use the cryptid known as the skinwalker. Now, skinwalkers belong to a very specific group of people
Right.
known as the Navajo.
Right.
They only exist in the American Southwest.
Right.
But people write stories on skinwalkers
Right.
based in Maine, Russia,
Right.
Canada.
Right.
And now I understand that the concept of what a skinwalker might be is
It's kind of like Yeti or Bigfoot. You can kind of
something like that,
but
right?
the actual name and the thing
thing
belongs to a certain area.
It belongs to the Navajo
Yeah.
people.
Right.
So when these other people get called out by folks in the Navajo Nation,
Yeah.
they tend to call them gatekeepers. And in something like that, I can understand it because
Definitely.
it's a cultural thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's
and
yes.
they're not necessarily saying, "Hey, this is ours, don't take it." It's
That's
more of a
There it is.
what's your experience
Yes.
with this?
What do
that-
you really understand about that? And are you
Exactly.
being respectful?
Right.
I'm not gatekeeping to keep you out. I'm gatekeeping to make sure you're being respectful of my culture
Exactly.
and the things that I hold dear.
Exactly.
And in
yeah,
many
yeah.
ways, we're kind of doing the same thing with our music.
Yes.
We're saying, look, all I want to make sure is that you love it the way I love it, which,
Right.
by the way, isn't fair, but nonetheless, that is, again, one of the things that the lady said was also, or no, I think it was in the article, is that most people who are gatekeeping are fully understand what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
but have poor social skills in the way they are communicating it to the people that they're trying to do it to.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think when those two meet, for sure, and you're right, when it comes to certain cultures, especially cultures that we know have been taken from, have been
Yeah.
stolen from, and used, my culture is not your costume. There is
Right.
something to be said for that.
right. Yeah.
You know, yes, you don't just get to be like, I picked up Native American costume. Like, hey, man, there's a lot of different Native Americans out there. By the way, there literally are tribes.
Yeah.
So you don't just pick up one size fits all. It doesn't fit all.
Right.
They're all individual tribes who have different, may have different beliefs, may have different society things. So, and being respectful of that is important.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And maybe some of that, certainly from a American honky perspective, is because of we, to some degree as a country, are such a hodgepodge melting pot. We assume all of it belongs to everyone in certain. Do you know what I'm
I
trying?
think also what it is maybe more so in this country
Uh-huh.
because you're right.
Yeah.
It does happen frequently in this.
I
in
think
this
way
country.
more. Yeah.
Being as hyper individualistic as this country can get,
Or pretends to be. Yeah.
or pretends to
yes,
be,
Yes.
you think, oh, this is my country. The thing now belongs to me.
Yeah, all things within it. Yes.
All things within
and
it are mine.
because we are a country, you're not going to appropriate German culture when you live in Germany.
Right.
We're
exactly.
all
right?
German.
And
you
there
know?
there is a weird thing, and I say this weird because the folks that I know that have gone to
Mhm.
this place,
Mhm.
this beautiful magical place, they see these groups of folks take on this personalities usually associated with other cultures.
Mhm, mhm.
Talking about Japan.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Japan has a very famous Latino
Yeah.
fucking
like lowrider,
lowrider cholo everything, right? Where
motorcycle cultures, there's
motorcycle,
blues
rockabilly,
culture.
and all that
Absolutely.
stuff, and
great.
it's like hyper versions. of
Very
these
much
things,
so.
right?
Yes. To the point, like sometimes you're like, I'm not sure if that person isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Except for
are
the
they
fact
Japanese?
that, except for the fact that they are Japanese, you're like, the way he's talking to
Right.
me right now,
Right.
that dude is from East LA or
Yeah.
what have you, right?
And I would argue probably all coming from love.
It's all coming from love because at no point do they ever express like feeling superior than.
No.
You know, anytime that I've ever communicated with
Yeah.
any of these people or that the people that I know
Right.
that have communicated
Right.
with such, it's always been of like, tell us more because we love this so much.
It's admiration.
Yeah, and again, but it goes both ways,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
When Japan has something that culturally is theirs,
Right.
Other nations, other peoples do take to kind of just take and not fully know where it's coming from,
Sure,
or
sure.
maybe appreciate it in a more respectful manner.
Yes.
One, the rising sun symbol, which
Sure.
is incredibly offensive. One that I think did get accepted, which was very Japanese,
Mhm.
which is Godzilla. Let's face it.
Yeah.
That is a national icon. I can't speak today.
For sure.
I got Godzilla on my tongue. Godzilla's sticking my tongue. But people come to appreciate it, I think, more so now instead of just looking at it as a goofy costume on some dude on a set somewhere, right? Like
and as
people
a-
appreciate it more so now knowing the history of
There
where
you
it
go.
comes from,
There you go.
right?
There
The
you go.
origins of why it was made,
Yeah,
what it
absolutely.
speaks for.
Not understanding things like, this is their response to nuclear war.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
This is why they see it much differently than we do, because
Right,
they had a bomb
right.
dropped on them. We haven't,
Yeah, yeah.
We see it as the future, and they see it as this destroys everything.
Yeah, this
know?
this
There's a reason for that, and to understand that, to your point, something you've already said, now I have a deeper appreciation
right.
for these what seem like silly rubber costume guys smashing trains. Like,
Yeah.
no. There's a deeper meaning to all of this
Yes,
if you
yeah.
understand their culture and you understand where this is coming from.
And I also get that within these cultures
Mhm.
that kind of are connected to like national identity and stuff like this.
Yes.
I understand that that's also very much so without a defining border,
Yeah.
without a defining barrier,
I gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
But the lived experience of these folks in these cultures,
Mm.
I think, is what helps define why they are being defended. So
Yeah.
So just what's the word here? So vigorously,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, because it's something that they've had to not just live with, but kind of experience as well their entire lives. So for somebody to just be like, oh, I like tacos because tacos, you know.
If nothing else, I put in the work.
Exactly.
These people put
right.
in the work, and
Yeah.
now you're just show up Johnny come lately, and you're like, yeah, I'm equal to you.
Right.
And it's like, well, in a way you are, because you're just as much of a fan as I am. But
Sure.
there's also this part like, it's the new band showing up to the band that's been playing for 30 years.
Yeah.
Technically you're both equal. You're both in bands. You're playing. But the guy with the 30 years of experience is going to have a few more stories than you are.
Of course.
And
yeah.
may feel a bit of like, oh, kiddo, you have no, we all do it in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
There's an age thing where it's just like, oh, youngster. You know what I mean? and again, all these things fit into it because of human psychology and more. And I think also because of this isn't mathematics.
Right.
These are things that stir emotions in us.
Yep.
So we become far more attached to them than other little things. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I think, and it's the good and the bad of all of it, right? It's like, in a way, I'm glad I live in a world that people care enough about a thing that they're, in their mind, standing out there with the sword and the shield, keep away, Unfortunately, they're more like the troll who's like, answer me these questions 3.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I get it. You appreciate this thing. You love this thing. I can definitely appreciate that. But I think another thing to remember too is like, there are levels to fandom.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you have to be. I don't think you have to know the backup quarterback in order to be a real fan of a team. But I do feel like there is some criteria to tell me that you're such a fan that you have the jersey, you have the stickers, you have the thing, and then I go, hey, did you see the game? No, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, because, no, I never watched the games. Oh, you weren't busy? Or no, just, didn't feel like watching. Oh, okay. Well, are you a fan then?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
and again, it's not, I don't want to put a test out there per se, but I
Well,
do feel like they're,
using
this
that-
is what I battle all the time. Ultimately, it's like, it's to say, I'm into horror. Okay, I'm not.
Right.
I know a lot about it. We've discussed this many times. Maybe
Yeah.
I am a secret horror guy. And
I
just
think
don't wanna
I
admit it.
will forever say you are a secret horror guy.
I am a bit of a whore. But it is to say,
Not so secret.
I do like, I think if my knowledge comes from anything, it's my knowledge of art and culture, and that's why it's such a big part of the things that I love.
Sure.
So it is weird when I talk to somebody who pronounces that the old Dave Chappelle routine of like, you're wearing an officer's outfit.
Oh, okay.
Don't be
I thought
no.
you were gonna quote another Dave
we're not-
Chappelle.
No. This is early Dave Chappelle. If you're wearing the officer's outfit, don't be mad when I come to you and ask you to stop a crime.
Right.
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 When you're dressed like the whore, you might get treated like the whore. It's
Right.
that whole thing. It's just to say, when you're presenting as this, like, I'm into horror, and I go, oh man, have you seen? And it's 5 movies that, granted, you could make it. Well, in your world, there are no. Well, I would say these are. I'm not getting deep here,
Right.
I don't know like what you know, where I'm like, it's a Japanese film that only came out on cassette. You had to listen to it and envision what the director wanted you. You know what I mean? Like,
That's all the movies for me now.
Well, yes, I'm literally describing a movie that is pretty well known and you don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
And yet what you're presenting to people is, I'm the king of horror.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And it's kind of like, again, I struggle with it because I don't want to be that guy. But there is a part that goes like, I guess when you hang out with the fans that I hang out with,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And I see the love and the care and the digging for these obscure
Yeah.
things. And you tell me you're on that level, and then I find out, motherfucker, you don't even play the same sport.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
I will give a similar example
Please.
where my wife Amy,
Uh-huh.
huge Mets fan.
Yeah.
Understatement of the year,
Yes.
by the way. But also huge baseball fan.
Yes.
So
Oh, yes.
she knew a person who used to work with her who claimed to be a Dodgers fan.
Okay.
So, Amy at one point innocently asked the other person if she had watched the Dodgers game because it was the Dodgers versus the Mets.
Right.
And the other person was like, "No, what do you think I do? Watch every game?"
Which, of course, sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher to your wife.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you don't
yeah.
watch every game?
So it was like,
says the other woman who lives and breathes with every
yeah,
inning.
especially if they tend to call themselves a Dodger girl and like, Dodger blue, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you.
And so I get that. Like, I fully understand that. Like, there should be at least some level of commitment aside from just like the superficial, I'm a fan. Right? Because
anyone can wear the jersey.
yeah, right. So like, if you come across a person who's in it, you're gonna get asked questions, and I think this kind of goes back to the showing appreciation for the thing,
Yes.
right? Like,
yes.
you don't need to know Shohei Ohtani's shoe size,
Right.
But
13.
Yeah, well,
I have no idea.
hey, big shoes. You know what big shoes mean? Big socks. Yeah, so, but, if you're not at least watching the most easiest or doing the easiest thing to show that you're a fan,
Right.
you're going to get some weird stares, right?
You're going to go knock down on my opinion. Again, and if that makes me a gatekeeper, that's fine. I can accept that part of gatekeeping.
I think that's an innocent version of it, too.
I do.
Right?
I mean, I'm not judging you or thinking you're a bad person. I just think that, I guess I mistook you.
Right.
One example to your point, two things that I think you that you just brought up that I think are other ways we can go with this discussion too
Sure.
that are interesting. One of them was I saw talking to a woman who said that she came into work one day and a woman was wearing an AC/DC shirt who she had never seen wearing an AC/DC shirt before. And in her mind went, oh, my God, I think I just met my new friend.
Yeah.
And went up and said, it was For Those About to Rock, the little cannon. And she's like, dude, that's my favorite AC/DC. And the woman was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just thought the shirt looked cool. Now, that's not gatekeeping in any way. And
Right.
remember, if you are going to advertise a thing, you may get people who want to submit to the advertising.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Every single time.
That is a big reason why I never will wear something that isn't me.
I'll never wear AC/DC.
Well, that, but like Jesse James choppers.
Yeah.
I think they're gorgeous. I think they're beautiful pieces of art.
Yeah.
I don't ride a motorcycle. I'm not wearing his shirt.
Right.
I admire his motorcycle, but I'm not wearing that shirt because the last thing I need is a guy coming to, right on, brother. I ride too. What do you do? I got a Scion over here. I've never actually driven a motorcycle. You know what I mean? I feel like that I feel like I'm being a poser.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
You're gatekeeping yourself in that.
In that way,
to a certain degree.
To an extent, but I also think it's like, don't represent a thing that you actually aren't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just me. My wife one time, she was wearing this, it was like a New York tattoo and had a cool picture on it. I was like, where'd you get that? She's like, oh, is it Walmart? I was like, well, but you've never been to that tattoo. She's like, well, I just think the picture's cool. I'm like, all right, hey, if you want to wear it, you wear it. I don't care. I just like, for me, I would just never, there's no way. You know what I mean? Like, I love the Raiders, and you can feel sorry for me later. And then I also love football, but I'm not wearing another jersey of another team.
Right.
Fuck that. I'm only wearing the Raider shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that I think you started with, because I think it's a great gatekeeping too, is the remember, we are two males talking about this. The world for females is a little different. And your wife is a great example of this because I have witnessed it.
Yes.
Which is, again, your wife is a baseball / Met fanatic.
Yep.
She loves baseball. She knows a lot about baseball.
Yeah.
She can talk sports like well, I know this is going to sound against what I'm trying to say, but she can talk sports like any other dude. You know,
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Any guy who thinks that they're going to out sports her, good luck. Okay.
Yep.
Especially in baseball.
Yep. Yep.
And I have witnessed it where we were at a thing. It doesn't matter where, but it was myself, a guy, and your wife, and we started to talk about sports, and it got into baseball.
Yeah.
Which is not my field of expertise in any way, shape, or form. And this guy almost completely just blocked out Amy.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like, you're talking to the wrong dude. The person sitting next to you is the one you're going to have a great conversation with. It ain't going to be me. And I know it was simply because vagina as opposed to a penis.
Yep.
And it's just like, how crazy your assumption was. Like, you're sitting next to fucking baseball encyclopedia.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
You're just you just assume me because I was just talking about football. I don't give a fuck about baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I actually,
and I've seen that. Like I said, with her, I've actually seen that.
yeah,
you know?
I've encountered that many a time. In the past, I used to get defensive about it, like what the fuck, man? Like, she knows as much as anybody else.
It's understandably so.
But
Number one, you love her;
also-
she's your wife, and it is upsetting because you're like, "Hey, man, this is the expert. Start talking."
But also, like, I stopped feeling that way because it's more hilarious to me to then, listen to the guys who disregard her just crumble in her absolute knowledge.
No doubt.
Right?
There is something to be said about seeing that look on their face when they realize, like, oh,
Yeah.
not only is she keeping up, but she's kind of kicking my ass here.
She's kicking my ass. She's fucking pulling out
Yeah.
stats from fucking decades before I was born, right? It's like, all right, I'm going to just shut up here.
Which, like, I would hope some of them then go, whoa, mud on my face. Let's keep talking. This is awesome.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I did hear that in another analogy where a woman said, like, yeah, she had a guy come up and be like, Slayer, you couldn't possibly, like, name 3 songs. And she started, well, how about I give you my favorite albums in order? And she started going, and the guy was like, oh, dude, fuck yeah, I'm glad you love Slayer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other part of that, too, is like, for the sausage fest that is metal, why are we keeping women out? Like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah.
There's nothing I enjoy more. Like, oh, females, yes, wonderful. More of them in metal, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the idea that all these dudes who, let's be completely honest, all they want to do is get laid, and then the moment a woman shows up, name 3 songs or leave. Well, how about you just let her enjoy it? And maybe you can get her number, and you guys can talk and have a good time.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like such a weird, again, the whole part of being like, we want to be inclusive. This is our little thing, but we're going to stand here and keep as many people out as possible.
Yes. Just the fact that it's called gatekeeping, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're going to sit here at this entrance, and we're going to be the ones who decide whether you can pass or not.
And again, in their mind, it's, I have my shield and my sword, and I shall never leave my post.
Right.
When in reality, no, you're just the troll under the bridge, wanting me to answer your
100%.
riddles. Fuck off. I'm just crossing the bridge, troll. Suck my dick. You know what I mean? Like, because again, and another thing I always think is too. Do you? And I don't mean you, but these people who do you honestly believe that a person comes in and goes, man, I love metal too. And you go, oh, really? And what bands do you love? Well, I'm into Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch and, I don't know, Raging Against the Shadows or whatever these new bands are. And I know this sounds dismissive, and in a way I am. I'm admittedly so. I'm being a little old man here. I'll admit it. And then you go, those bands all fucking suck, and you're an idiot for liking them.
Right.
Do you think that person's going to go, oh, well, now that you put it that way, these things that mean so much to me, let me throw them away.
Right.
And then my next question to that is, do you want to know that person? Because I fucking sure don't.
Yeah.
I would much rather know the person that goes, oh, yeah? How about you go fuck yourself? These are my favorite bands. They mean a lot to me, and I love them. That's fine. We don't have to listen to them together. But the fact that you stood for what you love and what you cared about is way more appealing to me than the guy who just goes, okay, well, then tell me what I need to listen to so I can belong.
Yeah.
You know? Like that. Like, I don't see how, as my grandmother would say, you're going to attract way more flies with honey than you are with vinegar.
Yeah.
You know, why do you think that you're going to change this person's mind? And if you did, do you really want to hang with this person? Because they'll just change their mind tomorrow if they find another group, you know?
Yeah, yeah. My grandma used to say, we can't afford honey or vinegar. So go out there and kill the flies with your hands.
And what the fuck are all these flies in the house?
Yeah. Close the door.
First of all, we don't want flies, you idiot. Stop spreading honey all over the goddamn place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like the
It's a weird-
inclusivity thing, especially because metal and punk do this, which is gross. They
Right.
do it, you know. But they do this a lot where they fly that flag of like inclusivity and
And I
like,
think
hey,
they
we
mean
accept
it.
everybody. Yeah, you know, but again, to a certain extent,
Yes.
you can get into the lobby,
Yes.
but you can't go up onto the floor
Right.
unless you know you have the special key,
Right.
right? And it's really weird because going back to
Please.
our episode of popularity,
Yes.
we think what
Right.
we're into is the biggest thing in the world.
Right.
We think we've had enough. We need to start measuring the number of people that we allow into this thing of ours.
Right.
But then when we step out and, you know, fucking Beyonce is selling millions
Right.
upon millions of
Right.
albums and ticket sales,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh.
Yeah.
But that show we went to at the
Right.
5-star bar was sold out.
Right.
So we're more special
Right.
somehow, right?
Like, it's okay to let in the next 5 guys. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm you know, back to one of the examples
Mhm.
with
Please.
Sun.
Yeah.
I just attended the show here
Right.
in LA. It wasn't sold out, but it was kind of at capacity.
Yeah.
And I told you before we started recording, it was a very awkward crowd, very normal kind of looking crowd. I
Right.
asked Amy if like there were a lot of metal types, and she said no. This is actually also different from one of the previous shows that you had also attended,
Yeah.
where there were like, you know, hipstery looking people there,
No doubt.
model type girls
No doubt.
taking pictures and everything. But I actually felt like I was about to get gatekept because I was wearing my, you know, traditional band
Sure.
T-shirt and jeans
Right.
and whatever, and nobody else was. People were actually dressed up nice.
Interesting.
You know? And I'm thinking like, well, what the fuck, man? I hope I don't get approached by anybody and get asked, hey, can you name 3 Sun songs?
Right,
Because
right.
at that point, I'm going to feel
Right.
pressure and say no, you know?
Well, and they're a weird band in that way, too. The people they attract,
Yeah.
the people that are into them aren't always going to be metal because they are
Right.
experimental, they are avant-garde.
They
and
are
so on.
very artistic.
Very much
Right,
so.
so-
And you know, hipster is the new poser, right? I
Sure.
mean, ultimately.
No,
they-
ultimately, yeah.
You know, I remember hearing plenty of that. Oh, hipsters are into them, man. I can't
Right.
believe you like them. And I always say the same thing. I don't give a shit. My grandmother can start showing up to Sun shows. I'm gonna still like them. I don't like a band because of who else is into them.
Exactly.
And I
Right.
also refuse to believe that anyone likes a band that doesn't actually like a band.
Right.
Nobody pays the money to go to a show just so they can be seen. By the way,
Just-
no one's going to see you at a Sun show.
Right.
You know, like,
right.
who's-
Well, actually, hold on. There are people like that who will go to a thing just to say they've been there.
I don't.
We know people like that.
And I don't necessarily disagree, but you understand what I mean. Overall,
Overall,
like
yes,
I don't
you're
think
correct.
hipsters are into Sun simply because it's just cool. I
Right.
think they also like it for whatever it is. Now
Sure.
maybe they only like it for 6 months and they move on to the next
Sure.
hip cool thing. That's fine. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, in a way, we kind of do that when we're exploring and finding new bands.
Of course,
Today's
yeah.
new band will be tomorrow's old band.
Right.
You know, I guess it's just to say, like, again, they are a different band in that way. But yeah, I get it. Like, I look, there may come a day that we start going to shows where the opening band's like, who are these 2 old guys? You know, get out of here, old man. You know, and
that was the case at the Jesus piece.
it certainly
show,
felt that way in a
right?
lot of ways. Like, you definitely, that's the first time going to a show where I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Because this isn't my thing. It's not horrible. It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not my thing. And I sure as shit am not getting on the floor. Because
Right.
I am not about to fucking have to
'Cause
go
I
to the
w-
hospital.
I will not come back to
No.
my chair and my cup of tea that I
Not
had.
at all. So it's just like, you know, but also in the moment, and I think we both felt this way, it, you know, if there was any gatekeeping on, it was wonderful to see that the gate was that open and it would continue
Yes.
to be there.
Very
that
much so, yeah.
that okay, good. The kids are all right.
Yeah.
They have their own thing. They're still loving this. They're, you know, I've always said, I truly believe as long as there are 16-year-old, for the most part, boys, but 16-year-olds, heavy metal will always be around.
Sure.
Punk, heavy metal, any kind of aggressive music, because you're feeling that in that moment sometimes, and you need that cathartic thing. And there's nothing a kid at that age loves more than someone yelling "fuck you" at the man.
Right.
You know what I mean? In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I think it will always exist, and that's the beauty of it. And again, the music itself will do enough of the gatekeeping. You do not need to stand there with sword in hand. It's just,
Right.
it will take care of itself. And by the way, what exactly happens if someone sneaks in? And it sneaks in to do what? Like that's
What are
that's
they
the other.
taking?
What are they gonna do? Exactly? Like again, if we're talking about the exploitation of our music, okay, we can discuss that. But
Sure.
I haven't seen that. It's really hard to kind of exploit metal in a lot of ways to get it to a palatable listening crowd.
That's actually a good
know?
a good thing to kind of sidestep into, where there are versions of gatekeeping where people do kind of abuse the thing for financial exploits, right?
No doubt.
That's not necessarily what we're talking
No, no, no,
about,
no, no.
but there are real world cases of that happening.
Sure,
right?
sure. Oh, absolutely.
And it's kind of more obvious, and this doesn't just kind of hit subculture. It hits like normal mainstream culture.
For sure.
I think people are less aware of it when it happens, but it's out there.
Yeah.
Not to get too
No,
overtly political,
please,
but
please.
it does happen a lot in politics.
Yes.
Where people tend to want to keep a country a very specific way, and then they say some really horrible things, right?
Well, one of the things that attributes to, and it's another one of the things that I read from these psychology people that, again, gave me better understanding.
Yeah.
It is a human trait for all of us, is fear of change.
Yeah, yeah.
New people coming in will change the thing that I love,
Right,
and I don't
right.
get it. Now, again, weird in a subgenre of music that
Sure.
says we should be progressing at all times, and we love the progression. It seems strange in that. As far as our country and societies and stuff,
Sure.
I can understand it a little bit more in the sense of the fear. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's worth shutting people out. But
Yeah.
I do understand change can be scary.
Sure.
That part I totally understand. But most change is positive.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say if the change is about being more inclusive, that's always a positive thing.
Yeah.
I don't see that as ever being necessarily negative. And obviously, no, I'm not talking about including Nazis and shitbags. I'm talking
Right,
about
right.
all inclusive. If the beauty of what of especially art,
Yeah.
again, I will just use the broader word art.
Yeah.
I think the beauty that the one of the things that I believe art could truly do is help put each of us in shoes we may never have walked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
By someone by expressing their experience in life. Now, when that is coming from other cultures, other sexual orientations, other skin colors, so on and so forth, more importantly, other walks of life, however that is. Because, by the way, an African-American living in the big city isn't the same as an African-American living in the country.
Right.
Their experiences can be very different. If all of those things help us become more understanding and more inclusive, then the more of that, the better. By the way, it only makes the music better.
Yeah.
You know? If we just sat around and let four kind of people tell us how music is going to be, it's going to be awfully boring.
Yeah, it's going to get stale.
It's
It's going to get repetitive. It's going to get old. And you're going to hunger for change,
Yes.
right? Like,
And
that's,
change only happens from bringing in people who, by the way, most of the change we've seen in music are usually people who are attempting things outside of what their norms are.
Right. Yeah.
They go, I don't know. Again, back to what I said earlier on. Rock and roll, if you want to use it as the giant umbrella of it all, is to say there are no rules.
Yeah.
Jazz may have rules. Classical may have rules. Now, there's obviously stuff outside of it that says, no, there's no rules here either. But for the most part, those have rules.
Yeah.
Rock and roll has no rules. The great innovation of things like the Beatles wasn't because they went, oh, you know what that note would do. It was them going, I have no idea what that note will do. Let's just
try
do it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then made somebody else go, oh, that is strange. I should do that. And that to me that's everything. So when you start to include more and you take these barriers down,
Yeah.
it only makes all the art that much better.
Yeah, I also think that going. I think we touched this on this in a previous show. It kind of kills the argument about rock being dead.
Oh.
Because if there are no rules, then anything that's done under the umbrella of rock and roll, whether it's guitar, bass, drums, microphone, or other instruments,
absolutely,
it's keeping the spirit alive. Right?
And let's be honest, rock and roll. I mean, again, not to get on a bit of a tangent, but rock and roll is more of a spirit than a thing anymore. Than a sound.
Big time.
That's why I don't mind bands like hip hop going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because it's a spirit.
Yeah.
Hip hop embodies the spirit of rock and roll in every sense of the word that it's always been. So to me, it's like, again, and that's the inclusivity of it all. They have brought new sounds. We both know of metal bands who have been influenced by hip hop. And I'm not just talking about new metal. I mean, just in general. You know what I mean? And again, I know just one of our favorite bands of all time, Neurosis. Like, it wasn't because of the hardcore punk albums. We both enjoy them. But it's the ones that come later where they're like, I want to put in Swans. I want to put in electronic. I want to put in this. And then we go, oh my God. They take this big swing and they change music forever.
Yeah.
That's the inclusivity that we want. That's the stuff. And I don't want any gatekeeper to... The last thing... Like, that is the weird part. You touched on this earlier. The bands themselves put no gates. The good bands never put gates, right?
Right.
Bring it to practice. Let's try it. Let's see if we can put this 10 pounds of shit in our 12-pound... in our 5-pound bag. Fine. But then it seems like it's the guy on the outside who goes, whoa, 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 I need to tell you what you can and cannot do.
Right.
Like, art is never going to gatekeep in itself. I mean, I know that there will be institutions of art that will try to gatekeep.
Yeah, I also
but
think
the artist
artist
without
will
gate.
not. No, because what an artist ultimately wants, I think, is
a good one. Certainly
is going to be what type of reactions am I going to get for this art that I'm about to create.
Sure,
Sure. I'm going to put it out in the world, and let's find out.
Yeah.
That's it.
This is what I'm feeling. This is my emotion at the time. This is the thing I'm trying to convey, but also maybe people will see things I'm not trying to convey. That could be interesting. Exactly. And just to go, like, I'm taking from this source and that source and this source, and I'm putting it, what you're hoping is it's the rainbow going in their head and the prism of one light going to the painting or the guitar or whatever it is. They're taking in all these wonderful influences and putting it out as their vision. And then everybody does that, and it just makes it better. So it is this, I think we've kind of said it, but it can't be stressed enough. I think the internet is far bigger on the gatekeeping and has made it become much more prolific than it would have been prior to. Now, maybe prior to where we would have seen it, especially things that maybe you and I would have avoided to some degree, being men. As opposed to if you were a female back in the day, if you were trans, if you were gay, it would have been harder back in the day for sure. There's no doubt about that. We wouldn't have necessarily experienced those things. But I think with the internet, it's become way more of a thing than it was before.
It's the fact that the internet creates this weird social cachet, right?
Yes.
And
great.
Like, that's what people want now, even with the anonymity / not so anonymous, existence of the internet now, right? Like, you get to talk shit and you get up clicks.
Yes.
You get upvotes now, right?
Yes.
So, and for some reason, people think that matters, and so they do it more and more.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's bullying. It's schoolyard bullying.
It really
right?
is. It's yes.
And
which again is coming from should be adults.
Exactly. Yeah, because when it's been brought up that, like, hey, in the real world,
right,
this conversation would not take place.
No,
ever, right?
Not in this way. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I think people lose that.
Yeah.
I think people forget that at times, and I don't mean to be like, go out and touch grass. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But I just think, like, if you were to, I don't mean to say either, like, hey, could you imagine yourself saying this to your grandmother? Right. But, like, just think about it, right? You don't want to be approached like this in the real world.
Right.
So why are you doing it on the internet?
100%.
Because someone's still going to get affected.
Yes.
And I mean, more so now than ever
Yes.
before, things on the internet affect real
Yeah.
life a lot more now
Yeah.
than before as well.
People, unfortunately, are taking it a little too seriously.
Yeah, so I think with the gatekeeping aspect, it's fun to kind of find out if someone's into the same things you are, but let's try to do it in a way where one, we don't come off as fucking social inepts,
Yes.
because even if we are, which I know I can be, I know
Sure.
we all are to some extent,
There's no doubt.
right? But if we recognize that already, let's try to work on that
Yeah.
instead of trying to work on the other person's knowledge of the thing we like.
Be constructive with it.
Be
Don't
constructive,
not
yeah.
deconstruct.
Exactly.
That's the big thing. Like, if you have that knowledge, then use it as a superpower that for good. And
For
to
good, yeah.
Say and let people like whatever they like. By the way, nobody's opinion really matters in what you like.
That's the thing. It's all subjective.
It absolutely is. I mean, are there things that are about music that can be also objective? Of course.
Sure.
But I can't tell you, I can't tell you why that song moves me and the other one doesn't.
Right.
If I could figure that out, that would be a lot easier in life. But
Yeah.
I can't, and I'm not worried about it because I'm too busy enjoying the things that I
It'd
love.
be easier for me because then I wouldn't have to explain why it's so
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
You would just know that it's good
Yes.
and better than,
Yes,
right?
But this is the beauty of these kind of emotions. Like, I can't tell you what love is. I just know when I feel it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with the music. When I can't tell you everything. I know there are certain ingredients I love in a band, but something I've talked about a million times.
Sure.
There are a lot of ingredient bands where I look at that as oh man, this is gonna be delicious, and then I bake it and go, oh no, this is not for me at all. You know what I mean? And it's just like nothing against the band, but it's like, especially when you go, motherfucker, you literally like this other band that does the same thing. Well, I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this other one just doesn't.
Yep.
You know? And it's like, why, we don't need to worry about it. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Yeah.
Find the things that you and I have been friends for a very long time, and we share a lot of stuff that we love.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of stuff that you like and I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's okay. We focus more on the stuff that we do like.
That we do. Yeah.
And that's all that matters. And I think the more we could do that, I mean, maybe this is our old episode. Be kind to each other. You know what I mean? But it really is. And this gatekeeping shit is just, quite frankly, in some ways it doesn't exist. In other ways it does. But in all ways, it's fucking stupid.
It's childish.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's childish. Great word for it. It does nothing. You achieve nothing. I mean, unless your goal is to show the world what an asshole you are. Message received, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be like, do it in the way that I do it.
No.
Because ultimately, that's also gatekeeping.
And
But,
again,
like-
we're all guilty of it to an extent. We
yeah.
are. We've all been guilty of it. I admittedly so. But I'm always trying not to because
Sure.
it achieves nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Right? Have you gatekept anybody recently? Because I know you have. Everyone has, especially if you're into anything that's considered underground or subculture
Sure.
or whatever. Take a look at your recent conversations and see what you've talked about, how you've talked about them, and with whom, and you'll probably find that you've done a bit of the old keeping
Mhm.
of the sacred gate a couple times.
And if you're one of these people, because God knows they exist, who really believe this shit is necessary,
Yeah, if this matters that much to you,
please make the art. I have yet to read one that I go, oh, okay, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
I have yet to see that. I don't care if a Kardashian wants to wear an Iron Maiden shirt. Let her.
yeah, she could wear a Sumerian
There you
shirt.
go.
I got a couple here.
Pay her. If she could wear. We're gonna start. We got to make a rehearsal room shirt. I'd give her $100
Yeah,
to wear.
well,
the fucking,
yeah.
you
Well,
know?
I mean, she could give us the money. She'll have the
I
shirt.
was gonna say, but it's just to say, you know what I mean? Like I do understand where you go. Well, she's not a real fan. No, nobody's saying she is, and God knows she's not. She's
Right.
probably a stylist that put the shirt on her.
Sure.
But whatever, dude. But again, I everything Nick said, 100%. I think it's, I'm sure we've all done it. It'd be interesting to hear these stories, but also again,
Yeah.
if you really believe this is
If
accomplishing something, I'd love to hear
Yeah,
it. 'cause-
let us know what this actually accomplishes if you really think gatekeeping, and don't speak in like general terms.
Give us a specific
specifics.
where
like-
you can say, I did this, and thank goodness, and this is why metal still exists.
Yeah, how is and if this can reach the ears of Eddie Trunk, because I would love to hear from that bloated shithead.
He's too busy listening to the last Scorpions record.
Well, okay, hold on.
Oh, sorry. I
I
was gatekeeping again.
Yeah. Scorpions will not be followed upon.
He's doing an entire episode of telling everybody why Enough's Enough is the greatest rock
There you
band
go.
ever.
There you go.
No, I think it's all. I love inclusivity, especially in my art. The
Sure.
more, the better.
More the
Anybody
better.
who wants to enjoy this stuff,
Yeah.
the gate takes care of itself because the music itself already keeps people away.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, we don't need it. There's far more positive things to do in metal and keep this genre alive forever because the more people in it, the better.
The better. Yeah. All that said, then, what are you watching?
Not too much. I've been keeping up with my Scrubs. Still loving that. Down to Fuck St. Louis is getting better and better with each episode. I find myself several times just going, what the fuck is going on in this show? But it is really well done. All three of the main actors are absolutely murdering it at all times. They're just so good. It takes these twists that are subtle. But
we started watching it too. Yeah.
Where are you about? Are you? Did you binge it all yet, or are you about
not
3
all
episodes?
of it? Well, I think we're 3 episodes
Okay.
in.
So with each episode, you just feel like you're figuring it out, and then they give you the next one. And you go, oh well, maybe I'm totally wrong. And
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I will just say it's just really well done. I was watching a guy kind of doing a bit of a review, if you will. So the guy who created this wrote it, and I believe directs most of the episodes. Did another show called Patriot on Amazon, which I have heard really good things about, but I've not. It's on my queue, but I might as well, police that queue is, almost turned into a Z. It's so long. But it's just like I heard good things about that. The guy says this is what he does. His stuff can be a little out there,
Right.
and stuff will happen in the episode. I don't think you've got to it yet, so I won't even say what it is because it definitely will happen. You'll go, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
But it's hilarious and funny, and you're just like, what? This has nothing to do with anything. Like you're almost like, did this actually happen, or was this them dreaming this happened? Yeah, it's
okay.
really, and it's just like, but I love the chances, and it's it's a dark comedy. This isn't
Yes.
outright just jokey jokes.
Yep.
It's very dark, but it's also funny, and
It is very funny.
Okay,
It
good.
is
I'm
very
glad.
funny.
I'm not surprised.
It's
that you
very
guys are enjoying
funny.
it.
I mean, obviously, Amy, much like you, have some weird infatuation with Jason Bateman.
I do like the guy. He makes some good shit, man, especially as of late.
I can't see him outside of Michael Bluth. Everything.
I thought you were going to say Teen Wolf 2, but yes.
Well, I mean, that is a very treasured classic in my house.
My goodness, how it didn't get an Oscar.
Well, he was cheated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anytime I hear him do any of his little kind of affectations,
I hear
I'm just
you.
like, oh, that's.
Well,
that's
I think that's part of what I liked about this one. You're right. I was and your wife scolded me as she should have. I was a latecomer to Arrested Development,
Yeah.
so I think I was probably taking in Ozarks before I actually sat with. So, but I will say I think that's what kind of I like about this show is this is probably the most different character I've seen him play probably since the one, and again it was a very brief than that one that he did the Stephen King one on HBO. But that was more horror and kind of dark. And
what was it, The Visitor? Or something?
yes, I think something like that.
Yeah.
Where this is just like he's playing, for all intended purposes, in a way, he's playing kind of a cuck, and he seems like a nice guy, and he means what he means. He wants to help, and he seems like a sweet dude, but he also feels like he's certainly as you get further into it, he really seems to be like, what's going on here? I thought I knew, and now I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
Did he get did they kind of what do I want to say? Did they run a scam on this guy? Is what it's feeling like. But you don't know. But again, I highly recommend it. I'm glad you guys are watching it. I'm not surprised you guys are digging it.
It's really fun.
It's really good. I think it's very very well done. Movie wise, I'll go in order of liking. First one I watched, I had to see it mainly because I love the two guys. But the new Anaconda.
Oh yeah, Paul Rudd and
Jack Black.
Jack Black, yeah.
Steve Zahn also in it, and Thandie Newton, both.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Oh no, dude. I mean, dude, Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez show up in it. Spoiler
No
alert.
shit.
Oh yeah. So the basis is they are friends. Paul Rudd and him. Paul Rudd is an actor in L.A., very much struggling.
Yeah.
And then you have Jack Black works for a place that does wedding videos because he likes to direct stuff.
Okay.
But he, of course, every wedding video he wants to do is like, we'll do it like Alien, and then we'll do this thing. You know, like I thought we were just going to jump at the beach. You know.
Yeah.
So they meet back up, and he tells him, look, man, there's this, remember when we made this movie when we were kids? And you get to watch parts of it and everything else. And he's like, well, guess what? I bought the rights to Anaconda. I say we remake it. And they decide, okay, and they go to the, I mean, it's absolutely bullshit, far-fetched. It's out there. But I love both of them. They make me laugh very hard.
Yeah,
I thought it was very funny. Again, you're in, you're out. It's goofy. It's not to be, which is funny because the first Anaconda does take itself a little too seriously, and then you watch it, John Voight with that stupid accent and everything else.
Yep.
But this one it is an homage at the same time, I think, being itself and maybe occasionally taking the piss out of the original, you know?
Yeah, I when I had first heard about
Uh-huh.
it, I heard about it being a little meta, where
there are moments.
it references itself. and
very
stuff
much
like
so.
that.
Yeah. Because they think they're shooting Anaconda.
Right.
They're
right.
going to do the remake of it where Paul Rudd will be the star and Thandie Newton will be starring with him.
Yeah,
and they find a guy who's like a snake wrangler. What they don't understand at this whole time is there's a monster anaconda snake that's actually killing people in the wild all at the
That's
same time.
cool.
Oh yeah, no, it's completely far-fetched. The other one that I watched that I was excited to see also, because I do love this world, is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina.
Oh, I didn't know that was out.
Yeah, it's on HBO right now.
Okay.
The what's her name? Andrea De Armas, somebody. Excuse me, sorry. I think she got a big buzz for she did that Marilyn movie, not Marilyn Manson movie, the Marilyn movie. The thing I first saw her in, she was in the last James Bond movie. Played she was like a Cuban operative that was there to help him, and it was also her first mission. She was like really excited and kicking ass. I thought she was great in it. She's really good in this. She plays the ballerina.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves is in it. Angelica Houston's in it. Ian McShane.
Wow.
Gabriel Byrne is now introduced in it.
Hell yeah.
And we also, I think it is the second to last one that Lance Riddick was actually in before he passed away. He's the one that plays the kind of the bellhop.
Yeah.
So, which also threw me because I was like, but I thought he died, and how did they get? Well, it turns out I read. Apparently, this movie had some troubles. It was the writer wrote a thing, they gave it to a director, and when the production company looked at it, they thought it was shit, and it was getting some bad reviews from test audiences.
Okay.
So the guy who's directed a few others pretty much took it over, and they had to do a bunch of reshoots.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
All in all, I love that world.
Yeah.
So I was excited to go there. My only thing, and I was glad they did it in this way, when you set up a character like John Wick, I'm not saying he's indestructible.
Yeah.
He's not Thanos, but I'm going to need to see him kick a lot of ass.
Yeah. Sure.
And more importantly, when you put the ballerina against him, not because she's a woman, but because it is shown to you right away, she is very new to this. This is going to be ostensibly her first mission.
Yeah.
They let you know ahead of time, she gonna fight John Wick. Okay, well, John Wick better wipe the goddamn floor with her because he's fucking John Wick.
Yeah.
They do it. That's exactly what they do.
Nice.
She takes him on. Don't get me wrong. She tries to hold her own, but you definitely get the sense that John Wick's like, look, if I could have killed you 7 times already.
This is my cinematic universe.
Exactly. Like, look, I won't do it, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to try to make this better. Just understand, if you don't, I am coming back for you. You know, and it's cool. It's supposed to take place between the 3rd and the 4th. So,
Okay.
like when he goes to visit Angelica Houston, and they brand him on the back.
Yeah.
You know, he comes walking through. She asks him, you know, how do you get out of here? And he's like, hey, the front door is always open. Like, it's not locked.
Right.
You don't have to be here, you know? And she's like, well, how did you escape? And he's like, I'm working on it, you know? But yeah, all in all, very cool. Gabriel Byrne was cool to see. He essentially plays the bad guy in it. That you expose some past history and everything else. The fight scenes are, once again, absolutely amazing.
Of course. Yeah.
There's an entire scene where all she fights with are grenades. So you're just seeing dudes, just entire bodies just blowing
Hell
up.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Again, I love being in that world, and I love like I'll watch it. Like I know we said that, and neither one of us watched the concierge thing. That they did about the
hotel,
the hotel,
the Continental.
But it's like cool to see all those characters again, and like I just love the world. So they can make 15 more of these, and I would totally. I thought she kicked ass in it. Like they said that was part of the deal, and she was up for it. She did the majority of her own stunts, just like Keanu Reeves.
Nice.
She went and learned all that shit to do all the things. So, and it shows, and it just makes those movies that much better.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's on HBO. Would highly recommend it. If you love the John Wick movies, there should be no reason you don't like this movie.
Yeah,
in any way. Yes, not high art. It's not high concept either.
It's
just
high fun.
It's fucking awesome, and just like taking the action genre to a new level as it has done, which I think is about to hit another level with another movie, which I did not watch, and I even hate that I'm mentioning it because I can't think of the title. You and I will be talking about it later because holy shit, this may be the way The Raid changed action films.
Oh yeah,
There's
The
a new
Raid. They're gonna make a new one. Yeah,
that looks. Oh my god. So, and the last one I actually watched it last night. I was very excited for this movie, and I am so glad it lived up to it. Called Crime 101. This has Chris Helmsworth, Halle Berry, that Barry Keoghan kid, the Irish one that played the Joker scene that got cut from the Batman movies, Killing of a Sacred Deer. He was in the Irish movie with that everybody loved. I can't remember what it was called. You know him.
Yes.
You know him. You've seen this kid.
Yeah.
Great actor. He's very, very good. He's even some small ones that I remember. Mark Ruffalo also in it. A role that apparently was supposed to be Pedro Pascal, and he had to duck out from a scheduling conflict that I read, and they brought in Mark Ruffalo to fill it out. The number one thing, and I thought, am I crazy? And I looked, nope, I'm not crazy. The number one thing people are comparing this to are two things. Number one, they're both essentially the same. Heat and a Michael Mann movie. And that's exactly what it feels like.
Wow. All right.
Now, it's not a direct Heat, not in any way, shape, or form. It's not, but it is this idea. He seems to work for another person, is it? Nick Nolte.
Cool.
Who fences the stuff that he steals. He is now working on a project that he doesn't feel right about. He brings in this Barry kid who now wants to try to steal his shit, essentially. One of the things you notice about the Chris guy is he is methodical. Everything he does, he thinks out. The Barry kid is instinctive. He just goes. He doesn't think anything through. That kind of dichotomy. Mark Ruffalo plays the police officer who believes there's a connection between these robberies that Chris Helmsworth is pulling off. Halle Berry plays a woman who works for an insurance company that insures multi-million-dollar people for their art, for their jewelry, their weddings, on and on and on.
This sounds familiar.
Listen, this is one of those ones that came out in the theaters, and it looked like it was getting some hype, but then to find it on Amazon already, I was kind of surprised. Now, I could have been wrong about the release date, too. Maybe it actually was out in theaters for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I saw that preview. As you know, I watch the previews all the time, every week. Every Monday, they put them up. I saw this, and I was like, oh, I am in. I'm fucking this, dude. We're talking about a heist. You're talking about some people who don't know who's who, and on and on. Oh, fuck yeah. I am in. Huh. Plus the cast. I mean, dude.
That's a good cast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I really enjoyed it. It is set here in L.A., so, that's always fun to be like, oh, that's that. And oh, shit, they're going across there.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, and again, it feels very noirish, and in that way, kind of Heat, Michael Mannish. A lot of people apparently are pointing at this feels like something Michael Mann would have made.
I love stuff that's filmed in L.A. I'm a big fucking fanboy of this city.
It's cool.
So anything that takes place or is even remotely filmed here, I'm in.
Again, this is and much in the way that Michael Mann does it when he with Collateral and Heat. L.A. isn't just where they are. It is part of the character of the film. It is. He wants you to know you're in L.A.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this does the same thing. So I would highly recommend. It's on Amazon right now.
All right.
I really, really enjoyed it. The only, and this is just my beef with a lot of movies that do this. There seems to be a part in which they want to make it where maybe Chris Hemsworth's character doesn't always know how to be social. You know what I mean? With people, because he just does this thing.
Yeah.
But it's also this thing where it's like, including women, and you're like, have you seen Chris Helmsworth? Like, I'm not saying, like, you understand he can walk into a room and there'd be probably 90 women who go, oh, you don't have to talk, sweetie. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know
Just
what I mean?
stand there.
Just stand there. You know what I mean? So it is this thing where it's like, yeah, you
Well,
know.
90
yeah,
women and these two
yeah,
fellas right
absolutely.
here.
I mean, you know, it's just one of those things where it's just, you know, well, you know, he doesn't, his social skills. Yeah, he doesn't. I've seen what he looks like. He doesn't need social.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
it's my Superman thing that I always love, where it's just like, yeah, he puts on glasses and no one notices him. Have you seen this guy? He
Yeah.
doesn't go anywhere where people don't notice him. You know.
Yeah, this chiseled fucking alien life form
What
that's
a
shaped
loser.
like this
What do you
hunky
need, 4
dude.
eyes over there? Like, really? Come on, you know. But
Hey,
anyway,
Clark, you nerd, get out of the way.
right. You 6 foot Adonis, get out of my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I watched it last night, and honestly, my wife, she fell asleep, so I'll probably watch it again tonight. I will. It's probably going to hit the rotation of something that every time I see it, I'm going to be watching it.
Cool. All right.
Really, really enjoyed it. And again, Crime 101, I would highly
I'll
recommend
keep
it.
an eye out for that.
Yeah,
one.
please. How about yourself? What you been watching?
Well, DTF as well. DTF
Awesome.
SL.
Good to
or
hear. Good to hear.
STL. Yeah, because we had to, you know, Amy.
Well, I
like
figured
you,
at some point, yes, with her. Yes.
She is a big Jason Bateman fan, and I'm a fan of her enjoying stuff. So, you know.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We also started watching this other show called Something Bad Is Going to Happen.
Oh, okay. Yes. Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
It's. I think we watched 2 episodes because they're kind of long. But holy shit.
Yeah?
It's really good.
Okay.
I told Amy it feels a little bit kind of like a modern Twin Peaks, but not
Ooh.
as Americana as Twin
Okay,
Peaks.
okay.
It's more of a, hey, these are by all means regular situations that happen to everybody, but there's an underlying weirdness that is unexplained.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
and it's got Jennifer Jason Leigh, I think, in it.
Oh, interesting. Well, by the way, also does an appearance in that Crime 101, which I was really surprised.
hey,
Yeah.
she's
She's a great actress.
Yeah,
it's one
great.
of those ones that feels like, where has she been? You
Yeah,
know?
right. So
After Hateful Eight, you know?
her being in it, and then I don't know any more of the cast because
I
they're all
gotcha.
younger.
Yeah,
people.
I noticed that. Yeah, I didn't recognize anybody.
But there are a lot of unexplained things.
Okay.
And these 2 episodes that we watched, they're very heavy on the exposition.
Okay.
As far as like, hey, this is a thing. This is gonna be a thing.
All right.
People are crying for no fucking reason.
Interesting.
It's such a weird show. 2 episodes in, and I love it already.
All right. Do you happen to know how many episodes?
I think it's 8.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
when they can keep it to 8, that's okay.
I
good.
think it's gonna be a good run. Hopefully.
Okay.
I mean, so far it is. But it's one of the ones where we were like, "There's a 3rd one out. Should we watch it now, even though it's a little later?" And we were like, "No, let's go to bed because we're not gonna be fully awake. Let's be more awake and let another episode kind of pile on."
Oh God, have I been there? Yes.
All right. So
Yeah. That was like Breaking Bad, where you're like, "Am I doing drugs? Because I feel like I can
Yes,
stay up
yeah.
all night and do this." you know?
yeah, I was okay. So I'll just say this one
please,
part.
please.
There is a couple,
Mhm.
a young woman and a young man, going to visit the young man's family.
Right.
And something happens on the way there.
Okay.
Where it doesn't change any of the story, but the fact that it happens and it's such a big, it's just a lot of time is spent on this one thing happening.
Right.
And basically they get to a rest stop and there's an abandoned baby in a car, in an
Ooh.
SUV.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, it's alive and everything.
I know,
but
but
then
it's
she
still-
leaves the guy there
Okay.
to go get help. And as she goes to get help, she wanders into a bar. There's a weird bartender girl there. The first girl gets spied on in the bathroom by a weird, like, mafioso-looking guy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then she goes back out, and it's just tense.
I
It's
gotcha.
fucking tense in here
Okay.
in this bar. She goes to get a gumball, and all of her actions are so slow and drawn out that you
Uh-huh.
can hear the quarter sliding into. It's like
Oh,
ASMR
interesting.
almost.
All right.
You know, and then the gumball slowly rolling out of the machine.
Okay.
The mafioso guy pops up behind her, and he says something which I won't say, but then she stabs the guy in the hand with her key, and there's blood. Like, there's blood.
Okay.
And he's just like, takes it out of his hand, and she runs out, goes back to the guy. you know, and then the rest of the show happens.
Okay.
You know, but just that whole thing is
that's
weird already. It's at night. There's nobody else there.
Interesting.
There's another. They keep seeing another couple on the road
Okay.
with a car that says "just married," but then something bad happens to that vehicle, and you don't never find out what.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's just like weird little things, little, you know, like little details that come up that you're just like, I wonder if that's going to be something else.
I always say I love stuff like that where it's like I'm thrown into the mystery and I'm figuring it out with the characters.
Yes, yeah.
It's always fun.
I love shows like that. This is one of them.
Nice.
You know, aside from the DTF show, I haven't really been drawn into a show as much as I have this one right now. So this is cool, you know.
Okay.
We've also watched a movie called A Different Man. I think that's the name of it.
Okay.
It's an A24 movie.
Okay.
So it's on HBO right now. Stars Sebastian Stan. He's the only one that I really recognize.
Yes, I know this one. Go
So he's an actor with physical deformities. He's he undergoes a treatment that kind of removes or is supposed to. It's a new test. It's a new process that they're testing out.
Right.
But it's going to remove the deformities. He just doesn't know to what extent.
Right.
After taking the treatment, he is free of all the deformities. So he is, by all intents and purposes, a regular, in quotes, looking person.
Right.
He decides to kill his former identity. Like, they're just dead. And he adopts a new personality, a new identity. And the neighbor that had moved in next door happens to be a playwright. So she writes a play based on his life as a deformed individual.
Right.
But he finds out she never gives him credit. She just kind of she says she made up the character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's to get back at her or something, but he decides to try out for the play while wearing a mask, like a prosthesis of his former deformities.
Interesting.
He gets the part, but then another actor with the similar deformities
okay, yes,
actually comes in and wows the playwright and gets the part over Sebastian Stan, who thinks I'm owed this part because that's based on me.
Right.
Those were my deformities.
Sure.
But now I don't have them.
Right.
I'm a good-looking ass dude.
Right.
I'm Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, right?
I was actually something of an anomaly, and now I've become what everybody else is. What
everyone else
wants
is.
Me.
Yeah, and like, so then, you know, the new actor who's still got the deformities, he and the neighbor, the girl neighbor, they hit it off. They start a relationship, and then they have a great life.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Stan's life turns to shit. Like, he actually gets thrown in prison or in jail for a while in the movie. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm just throwing out details.
Saw the preview. No, I saw the previews of it, so I had an idea of what it was about. Wow, I had no idea it went that far.
It's super good. It's really good, and then at the end, you're just like, this fucking guy. Like, and it is one of those like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of movies.
Yeah, careful what you wish for.
Careful what you wish for. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we watched it. It's not. I don't want to say a slow burn. It is a quiet kind of.
Yeah,
you know,
I would imagine. Yeah.
But it is such a good movie.
Okay,
it is
good.
really well made. I honestly recommend it.
Okay.
Because it's cool.
I remember seeing the previews and thinking, oh, that's interesting, and kind of feeling like, okay, I think I do get the gist of it. Kind of the, you know.
Yeah.
I want to just be like everyone else. Well, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, and be careful.
Okay, now you're like everyone else, and nobody cares about.
And
you
nobody
anymore.
cares. Yeah, like they care that he's a good-looking guy,
Right.
of course, right?
But
He's getting attention from people.
Sure.
But then you're also going to be ignored, just like everyone
You're not
else
the
is ignored.
individual anymore.
Bam,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so-
interesting.
Yeah, it's
Right
a cool movie.
Good to hear.
And,
Good to hear.
Yeah, we've been kind of like on an A24. Like, let's see what else hits. You know.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But yeah, that's kind of everything. Like,
Right
I did notice that HBO was carrying all of the Alien movies.
Oh yeah. I
So
know Romulus is coming.
Romulus is coming. Yeah. So I did watch 1 and 2, Alien
Nice.
and Aliens.
Ugh.
Fucking great movies.
Amazing combination.
The perfect 1-2 punch. I
It
think,
really.
yeah.
I mean, again, I say this ad nauseum. The genius of 2 was to look at it and say, "There's no way I can do that better." So
Right.
I'm going to go in the complete
I'm
opposite
gonna go different.
direction.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not going to make a thriller. I'm making an action film.
Action.
And
yeah.
just, so
From-
smart.
yeah,
Such
from
a smart idea.
Sci-fi horror into sci-fi action is
It was
it's
best
just
decision he could possibly
the
have
most seamless
made.
transition.
It really is,
Yeah.
man. You're just like, yeah. To just know, like, not going to do better than that.
Right.
Let's go this way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so smart. And
Yeah.
both of them are absolute masterpieces
Yeah.
of what they're trying to achieve, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Right on.
What are you listening to?
Quite a bit. Again, as I've been saying, this year was trying to go back and listen to a lot of old stuff, but also, continue with the new, but trying to just reconnect. Great Falls, again, I have been stuck on them. They put out, as I mentioned, I think the last episode, they put out a kind of an EP of singles and stuff like that. Just been loving that. It's just, I fucking love this band. As I am prone to do, I went down a big Hank Williams rabbit hole because fuck you, because he's Hank Williams. That's why. Jezu, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole with that. That was just clicking with me. First album, second album, third and fourth, of like Silver and stuff like that. Just,
Yeah.
I am a Jezu freak. There's
love
something
Jezu,
about
yeah.
what he does, and actually turned my wife onto it. I was playing Terminus in the house, and who's this? I'm like, okay, let me make you another playlist. This is why I love this woman.
This is another addition to Aaron's mixtapes.
It makes the panties drop. I listened to, as I think a lot of us are, the new Neurosis again, which put me down a Neurosis rabbit hole. I actually have Enemy of the Sun in the car, so
Nice.
I've been, which is also weird because I realized I'd probably gone 6-7 months without hearing Neurosis at all, which is not normally what happens for me. So it's kind of fun to revisit all of it again, you know. As far as new stuff, quite a few. I'll save that one for last, where I gatekeeped myself.
Okay.
But,
all right.
one that I know we shared. I think it's Mordia.
Mordia.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Self-titled. You got the Brandon guy from Amarok and Cold Blue Mountain. Fantastic record.
Yes.
Really,
yeah.
really good. Sludgy, crusty, atmospheric. A few songs took some turns I did not see coming, and I thought, oh, wow, okay.
Very angry sounding.
Very much so, and then they'll just go very quiet for, a good minute and a quarter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With some kind of more atmospheric kind of shit. Fantastic stuff. I mean, again, I know he's not, the band, but necessarily, I know we're both fans of Amarok. I know their last album was a big one for you.
Yeah.
Cold Blue Mountain is fantastic. They are fellow Californians. We've been lucky enough to see them when they come down south. I think the album is fantastic. Definitely going to be on my year-end list. I have not stopped listening to it since it came out. So really, really digging that one.
Yeah.
Another one I found, because, again, the computer is always listening. We were discussing on the last one Aaron's further ventures into what the hell is post-hardcore. And we talked about emo and stuff like that. And Dan brought up the band Orchid.
Orchid. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, all of a sudden I get a recommendation, not only on the computer with some person who does, here's some bands you should listen to. I think, actually, in this one, I think it was post-hardcore bands that have been forgotten or something like that. And then it was also came up one of the few times. Oh, no, it didn't. It wasn't Spotify. It really was Last FM. So they both coincided with it. It was a band called Panthers, which has ex-members of Orchid and two other guys from Unrest and the Red Scare. Just their first album. I checked their second one. That's when they kind of went in a direction where, I get it, they're expanding, they want to expand their sound. But the first one, called Panthers, Are You Down? Real cool. Really dig it. Like that kind of excitable, kind of post-hardcore sound where hint of At the Gates, not so much of the chaotic part of At the Gates, but that kind of, fun part of it. Really been listening to that album a lot. I really like it. Panthers, Are You Down? The first one. I tried their second one. They mellowed a little bit more, had more of kind of an alternative rock feel to it than anything else. One band they are connected to, I've seen a couple times of people saying sounds like, even though I'm not personally a fan of them, but Texas Is the Reason. Is a band that
Cool
they seem
band.
to be. They didn't do much for me, but again. Another one, again, one of these I think the kids thing was, I listened to 30 albums in last month, and these are I rank from 30 to 1.
Yeah.
And he got me with his one because that sounded interesting. So an artist, I believe he's out of England, called Puma Blue, put out an album this year called Croak Dream. The way I would describe it, I think I told you about this when we talked last week, but I forgot to send you the link, was the way I would describe it is, imagine if Jeff Buckley contacted Kid A era Radiohead.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
And said, let's make an R&B record together.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it sounds like. His vocals are very reminiscent of Jeff Buckley. The music is electronic for the most part, you know what I mean? But not in a, techno way, like soulful. There's love in those electronics,
Yeah.
But the songs are, they're kind of about love and some, relationships, stuff like that. He had another one, I can't remember the title. They said, it was the second album. Oh, it was a little darker. And I was like, well, you're speaking my language. I'll check it out. It did. It felt like a dark Sade record in that way. Very sexy, but in a dark way. So Puma Blue, Croak Dream. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. And just like these weird combinations, that's what my mind heard. It was like, I'm loving the music. It doesn't. It's not that these things don't match. Maybe they sound weird when you put them in a collage, but I think when you hear it, you'll go, oh yeah, okay, I can see those things. Yeah.
I'm noticing a big cat trend.
Yeah, well,
Panthers and
I'll
Pumas.
just say that. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Son of a bitch. The one that I almost kind of gatekeeped myself on, recommended by Last FM as usual, a band called Sectioned. So apparently there's a death metal one. That's not the one. This is called Annihilated. They're from Scotland. One of the guys in it, I guess, is in another band called Frontierer. Never had heard of them. To be honest, they are not the metalcore that I would normally know what metalcore is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I saw that name attached to them many times as I was trying to find out, like, what is this exactly? Number one, the album, it just from start to finish is just tearing, like just face melting, ripping, just aggressive all the time. There are elements, I would even say, of electronic music in it, but in the way something like a Genghis Tron,
Nice.
kind of, you know what I mean? Or what's the one? Shit, 3-piece from Canada. They've come down here a few times.
KO
God,
Dot.
no.
Pinkish Black.
No, the show we saw, remember the girl was woo the whole time. She kept doing that. It was with them, and Today Is the Day. I know. I'm an asshole for saying this because I can't. Ken Mode.
Yes. Yeah.
The way they kind of use electronics and stuff like that, bands like that. You know what I mean? So things I saw attached to them were metalcore, mathcore, screamo.
Yeah.
One thing in like a Reddit post I saw was somebody said it's aggressive, ugly, and noisy. My favorite kind of metalcore. And I was like, oh my God, do I like metalcore? Like a little bit. But I have to say, this is not, I would say stuff like Dillinger Escape Plan, maybe not as progressive in the kind of riffing, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I could not stop listening to it. You know what I mean?
What was the name again?
They're called Sectioned, and the album is called Annihilated. From what I understand, they're not together anymore.
Okay.
All the stuff on their Bandcamp is Name Your Own Price.
Okay.
But I really, really dig, like, what I got referenced by on Last FM, because they always say, like, because you've listened to, the two bands that it gave me was the band Helpless. They're from England. I don't know if I know I've mentioned them on here. They're fucking incredible. Like, they remind me a lot of the band you just played with the last time, the ending band. Hiss?
Oh, Hiss. Yeah.
That kind of aggressive, like, hardcore sound, but there's, like, angular to it. You know what I mean? A little bit of grind, a little bit of punk, a little bit of hardcore. Like, that's what Helpless reminds me of. I think they're fantastic. They're from England. And the other one that it gave me was that Jesuit that I told you I've been really been digging a lot on. So, and then bands that it gave me, like, if you like them, you'll also like, were a band like the Frontierer, because apparently the lead singer was also in that band. and then another one called Ion Dissonance. I'd never even heard of them.
Huh.
So yeah, if this is, I know that a lot of genres have, as I'm learning with post-hardcore, you say the name, but there is a spectrum somewhere in there.
Oh yeah.
I understand that there's metalcore like August Burns Red or something like that that is a little more like feels very cookie cutter. This did not feel cookie cutter. This felt very aggressive in a way that this is not trying to get radio airplay. The use of the noise over the top, just amplifies everything. The
That's
intensity. Cool. Yeah. I really, really dug it. Again, sectioned, Annihilated. You can find on Bandcamp, Spotify. It's everywhere. But yeah, that was my big discovery.
Nice.
That and the Puma Blue especially were my big discovery this week, where it was just like, oh yeah, they're going to be on repeat. But other than that, how about yourself?
Well, I did also listen to Mordia.
Yeah.
When you and our good friend Barry sent me that one.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Good.
I figured I should listen to it at some point, so
Right.
I did, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
Production is a lot more, maybe not as slick as Amarok,
Yes.
right?
Which fits the
it fits,
crustiness
it fits
of
the
it, right?
it fits the sludgy
Yeah.
crust feel of it. Like I
100.
said, it's very angry sounding.
Yeah.
But the little kind of quiet, ambient, almost interludes, kind of just help push the angry parts up more, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
it's just like wow.
The
like,
quiet makes it louder.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
Yes.
like wow. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, Mordia was a great fucking album. I did actually start listening to Great Falls.
Oh,
thanks
okay,
to-
cool.
thanks to you. Whatever their album was from 2023.
Objects
of Desire or something?
A pain. I think.
A Pain or
Yes.
something. Yeah. Fucking great.
Okay, good.
Great. Fucking
Now, do you
great.
hear Chat Pile?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. Because
Okay.
again, as I said the last time, I did listen to Chat Pile once. I don't totally remember what they talk about. But if Great Falls sounds like Chat Pile, then I need to start listening to Chat Pile.
So
Please,
so the
please.
way I actually started recommending Great Falls yesterday
Oh.
to the other band that I'm
Okay.
in, I told them they know Chat Pile.
Okay.
And I said to them, Chat Pile is the music equivalent of being like an average noise core white guy.
Okay.
Great Falls is none of that. Like Great Falls does not have a body. Great Falls is just fucking brutality,
Right?
But it's beautiful.
Oh,
like, it's very
Thank
fucking
you.
beautiful.
I know, right?
It's like there are grindy parts.
Yes.
There's sludgy parts. There are parts that could probably be construed as like psychedelic.
Yes.
Even
oh,
right.
dude.
The bass is very prominent.
Oh.
I love the rumble of the bass in
Yes.
this, especially in that first song when
Dude.
it drops with just the drums almost.
Yes.
It's like, oh, all right, this is gonna get
And using
crazy.
that very first song too, also using that electronic drum. in
yes,
that was
yes.
really a cool little
That
touch.
was a cool fucking addition.
The female vocals
Yep,
and the what,
yep.
dude.
when
I
they
am
do the
s-
clean singing and
Oh.
harmonize with each other.
Okay, Nick, if I haven't said it in a while, I love you.
Right back at
This
you, buddy.
makes it. Yeah, I
Happy belated Valentine's
I was
Day.
so like I really feel like look, I will say it. When that came out, I thought to myself two things. I don't know if a more Narot record has ever been
You're
released
right.
on
You're
Narot
right about
Records,
that. Yeah,
except for the last time they released a Neurosis album.
yeah.
Like it feels like everything. That Narot
Everything,
stands
everything
for.
that like all the artistic kind of valor that Narot holds,
Mm.
Great Falls has in this album.
Oh,
I haven't listened to the previous stuff, but just in this one,
yeah.
ooh, it is great.
I
start
will
to
say the
finish.
diversity in some ways, like the one that that I told you I've been listening to, Conscription, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
It is a one-sided record. It's going to be the second B-side's etched. So these are short songs,
Yeah.
which with Objects of Pain. Oh no, they do long songs.
Yep.
You know. So what's interesting about them is these are bursts of noise.
Wow.
Not grindcore though. Like it's heavy guitar. It's not like speedy guitar.
Right.
But nonetheless, these fucking overpowering where you're like, I got to take the headphones off here for a second.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to listen to this because
I'm so glad to hear this.
Yeah. No. This is what it was. One of those times that I was like, I sometimes tend to put off listening to bands just because of how popular they tend to
This
get.
is the own gatekeeping that we do to ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was this way with Chat Pile, and then I
Same.
listened to them, and I said, maybe not Chat Pile. I listened to Great Falls, and I was like, dope. I should have gotten on this one.
That makes me very happy to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm not surprised either, because I do feel like they have a lot of elements that you love. So I'm not totally
very,
shocked.
very much so. Like, they, again, it's as Neurot an album as Neurot albums can be, which leads me into
Please.
Neurosis.
Who?
An undying love for a burning world.
Yeah.
What I know. We said
We
plenty
we're
with
gonna
Dan,
be covering this for some time.
but fuck, what an album!
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Much like the Great Falls, there is everything that Neurosis had is back. I even said to some stranger, everything great that Neurosis.
When he says stranger, by the way, this is some guy walking down the street.
Yeah,
Nick
like,
tells
I just
everybody
say,
about Neurosis.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing? Stop and listen. Everything that's great that anybody ever said was great about Neurosis, this album is.
Oh, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Like everything.
And then
everything.
some.
And then some.
Yeah.
Because you have the anger of old Neurosis.
Yes.
You have the experimental kind of, just creativity of latter day Neurosis. You have David, you have Steve, and you have Aaron Turner.
Yeah.
You have more of the synth stuff, not just because of Noah.
No.
But also Aaron Turner
doubt.
brings that.
No doubt.
Right? And behind everything, you have the pummeling of Jason.
Yeah.
Just back on the fucking literal throne that he belongs on.
And
right?
there's some wisdom with this anger now.
Yes.
It's
yes.
not a young, dumb, full of cum.
No,
kind of
no.
anger.
This is a band.
This is a focused, I know where I want to point this anger at.
This is a band that knows what they can do.
Yes.
And they're saying, okay,
great.
This is us. This is us doing it.
Yes.
This is us doing the
I know
thing.
my artillery. I know what I can fire.
I know the damage this fucking ordinance can make.
Well,
and,
yes.
So.
Great point.
Yeah, dude. I love. I mean, again, goes without saying, I am a Neurosis fanboy. I have been for the last fucking 50,000 years of my life.
I hear you.
This just brought me all the way back.
No, like I said, I hadn't heard him in probably 6 or 7 months, other than the new album, and it inspired. I was like, I gotta roll through some Neurosis.
Oh,
dude. I put it off for too long, and for no particular reason. And it's just, brother, I posted it on my social medias. I said, either one of two things is going to happen at the end of the year, which is, it's happening in music. It's either that Neurosis have locked up the album of the year in March.
Yeah. Yep.
Or it is going to be one amazing year for music.
Dude, it has to be. Honestly, it has to be an amazing year for. If
We've
Neurosis,
heard some great stuff already.
Already, yes. I mean,
if
our
you're,
beloved Son already came out with.
And by the way, if you're a Converge fan, you must be creaming your shorts, because you're about to get a
album
second
was great,
and you're about to get a second one.
Yep.
So holy moly!
Yeah. Honestly, for me, if I did like top 10 lists like that, Neurosis already took the.
At this point, yes. I mean, I've heard a lot of great stuff, but it's just like, for everything that you just said.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers are gonna have to bring it if they're gonna knock Neurosis out of my first place, because I can't see how it can't be. It's just, and it's happened before. Primitive Man, I remember putting out an album 1 year and going, oh, well, there it is. We're done.
I did see Primitive Man put out something that they're going back into their catalog and playing some of the older stuff for the last time.
Nice.
I was like, wow. Whatever's coming ahead for Primitive Man is going to be great.
Yes.
I can tell already.
I mean, look, like I said last week, New Dialect I thought was fantastic. Corrosion Conformity, I haven't got a chance to listen to it because we came here early to record. I'm very excited to hear what that's going to sound like.
Yeah.
Great Falls just put out the thing. It's just like, dude, they're like I said, I'd be shocked if anybody knocks them off there, but man, I hope people are aiming, because that just means music's going to be amazing this year.
This is one of those what's the saying, shoot for the stars, land on the moon or something?
Dude,
or is that what Artemis 2 just did?
Well, nothing else, they prove the earth isn't flat again.
Exactly right.
But all your praise, I share 100% on this
such
Neurosis
a good
record.
album. Yeah.
Every time I've heard it, and I'll be honest, I'm as much as I wanted to wait till June, and there's no fucking way I could do it. I'm up to only 3 listens now. I'm gonna still kind of.
Is that when the album
I believe it's when it's supposed to ship is June.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
I thought I was gonna be able to do it, and I'm like, are you fucking
kidding?
kidding?
This is too good. Yeah, I'm on like my 10th listen, honestly, and it's just like,
I literally had I went for the third. And I thought, hold up. when does it get released? And I saw June. Oh, fuck yeah, I've definitely got to listen to it again. There's no way I'm going to make it till June.
Yeah, no, that's
you know?
that's you're holding. It's like holding yourself from water. Or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
at this
absolutely.
point.
Yes, like in many ways, yes.
Yeah.
From nourishment. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
this, dude. It's. I'm so happy for them. I
Yeah.
truly am.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy for music fans, because if you're a fan of great music, I'm glad to see a great band still continue. you know?
Clearly, I know we said this
No,
last
no.
time. This is a band that's not done.
No.
This was a band that maybe, I don't know the story of what this album entails,
I
but
understand.
it almost feels like they'd been kind of sitting on these ideas, waiting for the right moment just to, to fucking catapult it into
Certainly
existence,
yes.
right?
I mean, if nothing else, they definitely showed was maybe there was a sense of, we need to show people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like we're not done.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you saw the post of the recording.
Yeah. Yes.
20 years with Steve Albini, 6
Yes.
albums. This is the
Yes.
first one that they
Right,
did
it is the
without
first
him.
one. Okay.
Yeah. And they did it all live, which, according to the recording engineer, most of the songs are the first or the second take of the songs.
You know, how much does that add to the energy of
Yeah.
that album now that you hear that, right? That
Yep.
makes so much, the immediacy of every song that feels that way.
Yeah. so
Dude, oh my God.
listen to how fucking intense the music is, and then to think that it's
Playing it
live,
oh my God.
and it's maybe the first or second take. I mean, and he even said there are punch-ins and overdubs and shit like that.
Sure.
But it's minimal compared to.
And I think it's something to remember, and we touched on it last time too. And again, sorry if you don't like Neurosis, then
Yeah,
might as
sorry,
well-
because we're gonna
be touching on this all year.
we're gonna be touching on Neurosis a whole lot now.
It is to say, like, I think one thing was maybe not forgotten, but we are reminded, this is a well-oiled machine. These
Yes.
are guys who've been playing together for many
years. Yeah.
And, they don't. Yeah, one thing you always learned about them, they do not fuck around. The studio is not for fucking around.
Right.
They show up
Yeah.
and they record. They already, the practice space is for fucking around
Yep.
and coming up with the ideas. It's not to say they don't, may add stuff while recording. It's just to say, like, fully formed, here we go, rocking, 1, 2, 3, go, And
Yeah.
I just, again, the shoulders of gods is what the rest of us are standing on.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. No,
I mean, they really, it's just an amazing band who's been.
one thing that I think maybe Steve Von Till had put out on one of their posts.
Mhm.
One thing that I know had been said previous to all this
Mhm.
album coming out,
Mhm.
and it was always associated with Neurosis, and it's something that I always kind of admired them, and
Yeah.
I tried to do as much as possible
Right.
in my own music,
Yeah.
which was give everything, expect nothing.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Just the fact that this album is a result of giving everything, because honestly, like, expecting nothing, they just put out the album.
Well,
right?
I mean, I think a lot of great artists, and they are definitely one of them, especially when you look at their trajectory in general.
Yeah.
They follow their own path.
Yep.
They're not doing it for clicks and likes. They don't
Right.
care. I mean, obviously, they're artists. They'd like people to like their
Sure.
shit. But you're going to like it on our terms, not
Right.
yours.
Right.
This is what we create. This is what we do. If you want to come along for the ride, you are
Yeah.
welcome. Come on in. But if it's not your thing, no problem. We're not offended. You don't bother us at all. We'll see you later. And I think when you make music that uncompromising, it
Yeah.
always shines through. And I love that about all. I mean, again, you see this in their solo projects too.
Yes.
I mean, it's clear they are following a muse. It's not trends. It's
Nope.
not what's cool. It's not what's hip. Remember, I mean, it's easy to forget sometimes, maybe for younger crowds, especially, when Neurosis first came out, it's not like they were killing it. They were
Right.
people. There was a lot of people. I can remember so many people seeing my Ozfest shirt and going, "Oh, fucking Neurosis! What the fuck was that shit?"
There was a lot of
You know?
pushback on Neurosis.
People, oh man, I saw them. I remember a guy when I went to get into the military. I happened to be wearing that shirt at what they call MEPS, is where you take all your tests.
Yeah.
We're sitting there taking our piss test, and the guy goes, "Dude, fucking Neurosis! I saw them open up for fucking Gwar. They were fucking horrible," And I was just like, yeah, horrible. Okay.
It almost seems like early Neurosis was destined to not succeed.
Well, because again, you're doing something that
Yep.
again, not nobody. We were lucky enough to have a mind rot person in
yeah.
here. So you were forging a path that had not been You're
Right.
literally, you got the fucking machete out. You're hacking a path
They actually knocked down the gate that people were keeping.
Yes, and they were going like, look, we are going to go this way. Well, hold up. Everyone's doing thrash and death metal. I don't care.
Yeah.
We're going over here, man.
Especially in the 90s when music kind of exploded all over the place.
Yes.
Right? They still stuck out like sore thumbs.
Because nobody, again, other than a handful, nobody else was doing that. And it was weird. And if you didn't get it, you walk. Because there were, quite frankly, death metal was exploding.
Sure.
Thrash was still going.
Yep.
Black metal was around the corner.
Yep.
There were plenty of other things you could be in, not to mention all the what they would call alternative metal bands.
New metal.
Yeah,
and all that
absolutely.
shit, yeah.
There's tons of other things you could get into to some degree that was more accessible.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just like the uncompromising way in which they also the part where they were like, guess what? We're all going to get day jobs because we can't do what we want to do uncompromised and be a touring band that is subservient to a record label that goes, hey, you guys aren't selling a lot of records.
Yep.
You know, that kind of willingness to give yourself over to the art, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you are saying I must create this thing, and whatever I have to do to make that happen, I applaud that no matter what you make.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it comes through in spades on this album.
Oh, it's
and this is honestly like after this I told myself I'm gonna go back and listen to every Neurosis album after this. Just because I have to now. I have to.
Enemy of the Sun is in the car right now. I just was like, yeah. It's just because it goes to what you said. Because so much of the DNA of what they were doing prior to this album is still in this album.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go back and hear those things again.
Yeah.
Because you hear the tidbits of an Enemy of the Sun, of a Times of Grace.
Yep.
They're there, even if it's not, it doesn't have to be the riff. It doesn't have to be the drum. It's just, it's there. It's in their DNA.
Yep.
You know, it's what Neurosis is.
Yeah.
And God, it's just,
yeah.
You talk about gatekeeping, like that's one that I love that I'm part of. It may not be in a lot of us. You know what I mean? But it's strong.
It is strong.
Just, if I may, real quick, I think it was Metal Hammer posted, who put out name a band that put out an album that changed music forever. And I put Neurosis, Souls at Zero.
Yeah. I agree. Souls at Zero. Yes.
That was the impetus, right? Everything after that is, I understand that, more people will point at, for the most part, and I understand through Silver and Blood or Times of Grace to say those are the ones where they peaked. Yeah, peaked for sure. But what changed music forever? Right there. That's where they made a left that everybody else went, huh?
Yep.
And then 20 years later went, oh, got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of people come in, give me like emojis, heart emojis, and then the first comment was a guy just said, and then they became the greatest band ever.
That's
and it's
right.
just like,
That is correct. That is correct.
For those of us who get it, and again, I'm not saying it makes us better. For those of us who get it, we get it on such a deep level.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. And thank you to all of them for sharing it with us through all these years. Because I think I'm a better person for it, quite frankly.
Yeah, agreed. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
I kind of stuck around with just a little bit this
you
time.
You could do worse. My friend, you were doing
just the Neurosis one alone
Yes.
was a heavy listen and quite emotional for me as well.
Imagine.
Like I am one of those people who connects a lot of my emotions with music.
Same.
And Neurosis was one of those bands that had been present for me at some pretty important times.
Same.
So, some very pivotal moments of my life, and this one is no different.
No.
It hits me at a time that it needed to hit me, and I think I'm coming out a better person. That it's around.
It feels almost like I'm growing with the band.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I'm in the same headspace that they're kind of in right now.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks, folks. Any recommendations? Let us know, and let us know what you gatekeep and why you gatekeep. And we'll catch you soon.
Later.
Howdy, folks. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at the rehearsal room. If you've got any recommendations you'd like for us to check out, whether it's a band, a movie, or anything else you think we'd be interested in, you can write to us at therehearsalroompod@gmail.com, all one word. We're also over on Instagram or Facebook, or even YouTube. You can also find us on any of the popular platforms for podcasts. And if you happen to know anybody that would be interested in any of the subjects we're talking about, please make sure to refer this show over to them. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to us, and we'll catch you soon.